Okay, welcome to episode 2 of Otaku Informers, titled Informers Pass Plus. Because today we're going to be talking a lot about both Game Pass and the new PlayStation Plus Premium, which is big video game news today. So first and foremost, I just want to introduce your show, Otaku Informers. Just so you know, actually, if you two can check out the stream, you'll see I added a couple of pictures. So as you can see on this screen on the stream, basically, otaku is not a dirty word, as a CNN article asked when I googled otaku definition. Otaku
Oh,
actually means, based on the Merriam-Webster dictionary, a person having an intense or obsessive interest, especially in the fields of anime and manga, often used before another noun. So basically, we're definitely obsessed with all things geek, nerd, etc. So, without further ado, I will introduce my two co-hosts. It's the Japan report. So how are you doing, Matt? How are you doing? How's life in Japan?
let's see. Pretty good, pretty good. As you guys know, my work suddenly during this week, my work suddenly said you need to go to Osaka for the rest of the week, and I was like, "Oh, okay. You could have told me beforehand." But yeah, that night I took the bullet train to Osaka, spent a few days at my company's Osaka office, and then came back yesterday around 2, 3 p.m. So yeah, busy week, busy week.
Perfect. I have a lot of questions about that, but first, our third otaku informer, the second otaku informer on the ground in Japan. I am personally in Montreal. It's Felipe. Go ahead.
Hello, folks. It's been a pretty chill week. After that, I just been like biking, exploring the area. That's it.
Perfect. So Felipe, you live in Sendai, right?
Yeah, currently in Sendai. I live in Morio. For any JoJo fans out there.
Whenever you say that, it gives me a perfect idea of what Sendai looks like because I remember Morio so well out of every like place that we see in JoJo, and also Chris Broad in his Abroad in Japan channel did a Sendai because he lives in Sendai too, a Sendai video, and it really did look a lot like Morio with the being on the coast with the sea. So
Yeah, I haven't had much time to explore yet, but I just learned something very insightful last week. So I'll be taking advantage of that information and I'll be exploring hopefully a lot more in the near future.
All right, so before we jump to talking about Osaka, because I have a few questions, tell us what
Okay.
you discovered, Felipe.
Well, it's not groundbreaking, but like I should have realized that even our metro system here in Sendai, we have a day pass, which I don't need it anyway. I just bike to work. But whenever I do take the metro, every time I do go downtown, round trip costs more than the day pass. So if I do take the day pass, every time I do go downtown, I can explore the entire city if I need to. So it's cheaper and I get to explore more.
Nice. So, how far away are you from downtown Sendai?
Uh, 30 minutes ish
By bus?
by metro.
Oh, okay. There's a subway that goes from where you live to downtown Sendai?
Yeah, I live at the last station in one of the directions, so I just go to the literal center of this center. So the whole system it looks like an S. I don't know if that was on purpose or coincidental, but there's two lines that cross like this, and they're both like S's because Sendai.
Wow,
And
that's actually pretty
as
cool.
someone who studied like some graphic design in the past, also that's just like it's genius.
If you had to compare it to Montreal Metro, like from which station to which station would you say is equivalent from where you live to downtown?
That's a bit hard to say. Like placement and distance, right? Because Montreal is a loop for most part, right? There's the orange and then there's green that goes down and blue directions. So I would say that Sendai is literally in the center. So I guess a good reference point would be Barrie UCAM for Sendai Station, and I live maybe uh Jean Talon.
Oh, that's not far.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
that would be like a direct line. From Saint Michel, it would be, I guess, 30, maybe 25 minutes. Yeah. Okay, I see. Like from Jean Talon to Berry-UQAM, if it would be 30 minutes, basically. Is that
Maybe a
what you're
bit
saying?
farther, maybe like Henri Bourassa.
Hmm.
So that'd be a bit further because Jean Talon, it is like just a straight path, which is what my stations are. But yeah, it's a nice reference point. Sendai and Montreal do have roughly about the same area and population, so feels like I'm home again, home away from home.
Nice. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're doing well. So, Matt, you sound like you had a very eventful week in Osaka. So, my first question is, when exactly did you go and when did you come back?
So Tuesday around, I think it was like right after lunch, so like 1 p.m. on Tuesday, my boss suddenly goes, "Hey Matt, you and a coworker have to go to the Osaka office tonight." And I go, "Oh, okay. Can you tell me why?" He's like, "Oh, they need help over there." Oh, all right. Could have given me a day notice or something, but okay, whatever. So I leave around 5 to go back home, pack up. Then I go to the Yokohama bullet train station. I leave with my coworker around 7. We get to Osaka, I think it was like 10? No, 9:30. Sorry, 9:30. Because then it takes an hour from Osaka station to get to our office in Osaka, which has like their own dormitory. So we don't need to go to a hotel. They already have like a
Wow.
little apartment set up. So that's why we just go straight there, and then the next morning I'm there helping for 2 days. Yeah, 2 days. And then I came back Friday afternoon. Fun
Interesting.
times.
How long does it take so you took the bullet train, you said?
Yeah.
How long
So
did it
the
take? Yeah.
fastest bullet train, there's like 3 different main types of bullet trains on this line. So there's one that stops at every station. There's one that stops at half, I would say. And then there's the fastest one that only stops at like the big main ones. So like Tokyo Station, Shinagawa, Yokohama, then Nagoya,
Hmm.
Osaka, Kyoto, and then Osaka. And that one takes about 2 hours, 10 minutes from Yokohama to Osaka.
Nice.
Yes.
I remember like again in the Abroad in Japan channel, which is basically where I get most of my Japanese knowledge, my knowledge on Japan itself. He said like one of the reason why people in Japan, or especially the older people who like never left the country, is because like when they have like some free time, they're like, oh, I'm just gonna take the bullet train and go to another prefecture, and it kind of feels like a big trip, right?
Yeah. The transportation system in Japan is like so good that I get it. I get why some people are like, yeah, I've never left the country,
Hmm.
because it's so easy to go to like every little spot in this country that it's like, okay, I don't need to go anywhere. But to me, I'm like, no, you need to go to other countries, visit, explore. But them, they're like, nah, good, I'm good.
Yeah.
The pros and cons to both of them, like not leaving and leaving.
Yeah, there's pros and cons.
What would you say are the pros of not leaving? Because I feel like leaving the country and seeing other countries, there can only be pros, no?
Well, trying to understand from local perspective, even though I'm half Japanese, I was raised abroad, right? But from what I can see, it's just the ease of accessing stuff. like not stressing over not being able to communicate and not having money, safety, so they already know it's pretty safe. So it's trusting also. That's like
Mm,
a big plus for being here.
that's true for sure.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of questions about Osaka for you, Matt. Well, not a lot, but just I'm very curious. Like, what would you say first? I'm gonna put up a picture of Osaka. So this is a picture that I put up on the stream. I don't know if you guys have the stream up because I'll be putting, well, especially later on once we start talking about video game news, which will be the biggest part of the show today. I'll be posting a lot of pictures there, so I don't know if you guys can open the stream. But first,
Yeah.
so yeah, this picture of Osaka. First, what's the name of the guy who, the big picture of an athlete running with the
The
red
new guy,
thing?
yeah.
Glicoman. Glicoman.
So tell me a bit about that. Who is he? Why is this picture so famous? Because I've seen it many times, but I don't know the history behind it.
As far as I can tell, I'm not really sure, but I think he's the mascot of a candy company or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Don't quote me.
he was the original mascot of a big candy company in Japan, Glico.
Mm,
That's all I really know about it too. Like I went there, I went to Dotonbori a while ago, and it's cool and all, but like that's the main area. Like you see all the Japanese people just like standing in front of the Glico man taking pictures. I'm like, yeah, okay. When in
Yeah, this
Rome,
is
do
like,
like the Romans.
so you
I
said
have to
yeah.
say that when I visited there, like that picture you showed with the bridge and everything, under that bridge, it was very dirty when I visited. And
Yeah.
you
Really?
don't link Japan with dirt, but that's mostly because Osaka, just like Tokyo, is one of the heaviest touristy places. So, sure, you can blame on tourists, but you can blame on like bad Japanese. But Japanese, they do tend to follow the crowd. So maybe that's an influence. Hard to say, but maybe it's clean by now because of COVID year 3.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
hope to visit
Yeah.
soon. Yeah.
Actually, well, I still
Yeah.
have I still have the picture up. I'm very curious about this, what you just said, because on the picture you see that under the bridge there's like a river. So you saying that river is not clean, or there's
No,
no more
it's
river?
a river. There's a bank underneath where you can walk inside. So like there's corners, there's places where you can walk, not the river per se.
Okay, so
The river
basically,
wasn't great either. Last time I visited, the water in the river wasn't that clean either. But like, I'd say probably the same as like a river back home in Montreal. Like,
I'm
it's not like super dirty, but like you wouldn't drink from it. Let's say it that way.
I am very curious because Japan is famous for being extremely clean, right?
Yeah.
So
It
why?
still is.
So what's the difference with Osaka?
Not just Osaka, but because Osaka is one of the biggest tourist locations, like Tokyo, Kyoto. So that's why could have been, like I said, the tourists, like a lot of people
Mm.
could crowding around, especially to take a picture of Glico Man. But it was a sight. When I walked in Shinjuku in certain areas, it was also a bit of like can be helped, but it's normal.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you visited Osaka already. I wasn't sure if you've been there, Felipe, since you've only been to Japan for like I mean, since October, more over 6 months. But
Yeah, I visited the country twice before, so yeah.
oh, that's right, you've been to the country before. So since you moved to Japan in October, you've been to Osaka again, Felipe?
No, I have not yet.
Okay, that's why you were saying about COVID, how maybe after because of COVID it's cleaner.
It might be. I said it might be cleaner. Yeah.
So what's the answer to that, Matt? Since you went there a few days ago.
Well, I didn't go back to that area because the office for my company is like in basically like Point Claire, if you want to refer to Montreal as a reference. My
Hmm.
office is not like downtown Montreal. It's like in Point Claire. It's like way over in the West Island type thing. So over there, it's like real small town. Real in Japanese they call it inaka, the countryside. It's just like real small, nothing happening, just like construction, manufacturing, offices, that type of thing. So I'm not sure the current status of downtown Osaka, but I am planning to go back to downtown Osaka in August for the Obon holidays to finally visit Super Mario World. Like, yes, I will
Yo,
have
wait for
4
me. Let's plan
days.
something. Wait for me. Let's plan something.
If you two go to is it Nintendo Land? Is that how it's called? Or Mario Land?
Yeah, Super Nintendo World.
Okay,
In
Super Nintendo.
USJ.
You guys absolutely have to take videos and a lot of pictures, and we'll do like a whole special episode if you guys actually go together. That would be awesome. And maybe one day, who knows, I will go with you guys.
Yes, you have to.
For
Hey,
sure.
starting next month, the Japanese government is letting certain tourist groups from US, Australia, and I think the UK, I think only 3 or 4 countries.
In Singapore,
They're
I think.
allowing, yeah, Singapore, right, that's it. For
Mhm.
those 4 countries, only like small groups of people from those countries get to come back into the country and like have a guided tour where they have to follow the tour guide and only can stay at specific hotels and can't take public transportation. It's
Really?
like so many rules and regulations, but they're like, we're easing up on our restrictions. And I go, really?
I find
This
that
doesn't seem like you're easing up on anything.
I find that kind of ironic. They have to wait to open to like at least 2 countries that are so far away and have incredible high numbers of like past numbers of infected people and people who refuse to get vaccinated. They choose
Mm.
like those countries instead of just starting nearby, like countries around Asia. Why not Korea? Korea is like right next door. Why not Philippines? Example. I don't know
Because
their
it's all about
vaccination and
the yeah.
infected status, but they could start like closer and then go outside. Like you have to go to US or abroad. That's a bit weird, but I guess because historic reasons, I don't know. Doesn't matter, but it's
It's
weird.
all about perspective, right? Like if they say, "Oh yeah, we'll let the U.S. in," it just looks good on the world stage, right? That's why they chose the bigger countries. They're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, we're totally easing up on stuff, guys. Don't worry about us. Here, Americans can come in." Like if they say,
Mm.
"Yeah, Koreans and Filipinos can come in," they would be like, "Yeah, okay, whatever. Who cares?" But that's probably why they chose the bigger countries.
Yeah,
That's a very good point.
I agree with
Because
that. Sadly,
I did hear actually, it's a good point that you bring up big countries like the U.S. Actually, a lot of what you guys are saying is brand new information for me. So you guys are informing me in the Japan report. This is very good information for real. So because a couple of things. First, I did hear that the U.S. embassy were very upset that apparently during COVID, Japan were like kind of like searching or not searching, checking the IDs of a lot of American tourists. And
Yeah.
apparently the American embassy was not happy about that. They were like, the Japan government like harassing our citizens
Hmm.
by constantly asking them for their ID because I guess they think they're more likely to bring the virus in. But so
Do you
yes,
want me to expand on that a bit? Like, there's a little bit more to that story. Do
please
you
go
want
ahead,
me to?
please.
Okay, so, like, the normal thing for all foreigners, if you don't even look a little bit Japanese, is like the police will come and just randomly ask to see your resident card, like your visa, basically. The thing that lets you into the country. They'll just randomly come up to you and go like, "Can I see your resident card?" You could just be walking down the street doing nothing, and a police officer might just come up and be like, "Where's your resident card?" Because by law, you have to keep it on your person at all times. But I doubt many people actually do that.
Hmm.
So like the police are legally allowed to do that. But man, it's annoying because usually there's no reason to do it. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's. They're just like trying to waste time with the foreigner. And usually it's just sometimes a police officer wants to practice their horrible English and be like, "Hello, may I see your Zyru card?" And it's like, "Yes, okay, here you go."
I've seen
Other
some funny
times they've been just
comments
wasting time.
that maybe they just truly have nothing to do because crime rate is so low, so they have to
Mm.
keep themselves busy, which is partially similar to like why Japan, like Tokyo mostly, they plan to discontinue the very already almost non-existing trash cans in the train stations. They plan to discontinue that because they argue, oh, terrorism this, terrorism more pretentious, but in fact they just want to cut costs. When people
Yes.
like these staff members, they're just doing nothing, fiddling their thumbs in the station, the office, and like, sure, it's a big cost, but you have an excuse, just to cut more costs instead of keep doing your job. Once the borders open up for more tourism, and if trash goes up again, then they'll see like, oh, that was a mistake. But
Mm.
we'll see when it happens.
It's
If
already hard enough to find a garbage can, and now they're removing even more. I'm like, God damn it.
yeah, they can't. The Japanese government, they can't expect all foreigners to like when in Rome do as Romans do, right? Like they don't have this
Right.
habit. We made all respect. Sure, there's trash can. I'll throw in the trash, but they can't expect foreigners to just keep trash on their pockets. Especially if there's the messy kind. Like no, I'm sorry. Like they might just sneak in or purposely go on 7-Elevens, convenience stores that may or may not have trash cans. They might be discontinued those also. Other bathrooms, I only for customers and so on. There's like very complicated problems here.
I mean, that's
Maybe they're
really,
playing the long game, which is gonna segue to our segment soon. But
yeah. That's why I was really surprised that you said there was a lot of trash in Osaka because I've heard this before that there's so few trash cans in like Tokyo that you have to carry your trash with you and still the streets are very clean, is what I heard. So I don't know if Tokyo maybe is cleaner than Osaka, but what do you guys think?
I'd say it's about the same in terms of cleanliness, really.
But you
Not
brought
yeah,
up,
you
much
have to
different.
really look for the dirt.
mm,
Yeah.
Like under the bridge there was like a specific kind of hiding spot, so that was a bit different. But you can find even here in Sendai, it's very clean, but every now and then you're gonna see like some litter here and there that people either dropped accidentally and didn't notice or forgot. Because it's rare to see like a lot of litter on purpose.
It
interesting.
also depends on like the district, right? Like just in Montreal, like the tourist districts are cleaner because it's the tourist districts. They're trying to make it look all nice and shiny, right? But then
Yeah.
if you go to like a suburb of Tokyo where it's just normal people living, of course it's gonna be a little bit more dirty because they're not like every day going like, okay, there can't be any garbage
Mm,
anywhere
mm.
type thing.
One thing I've noticed, just like in Montreal, is like the dirtiest place tend to be like a bit far away from cities, like in bushes. We have to look for the trash, and that's because there's wind, the typhoons, rain, so trash gets stuck in between hedges and stuff. So
Mm.
I would have cleaned, but I don't carry a trash bag with me just to like be a good Samaritan.
Yeah.
It's not a volunteer trash pickup day, so I'm not. I mean, that's kind of harsh to say, but I'm not that good-hearted person to just do. No, I'm not gonna purposely carry a trash bag every single day just to like, oh, can I help today? It's a bit tough. Unless it's planned to do that together as a group, then sure.
I have
But
Philippe,
no
again, there's
problem
very
saying
nitpicky
I'm
that
not that good
look
of a
for the
person.
trash. Yeah.
it's just funny, especially when you've known Felipe for a long time. Felipe is a good person, but I know exactly what he's talking about. The darkness,
Like, don't
the
take this out of context, please.
I'm going to quote Dexter, your dark passenger.
Yes.
We all have a dark passenger.
Oh, such a throwback. A very good reference. That was a good show.
Did
Hated the
you?
last 15 minutes, but we'll get to that.
Actually, no, no, no. We just brought up Dexter, and I completely forgot. Have you watched the latest season that just finished? There was a new season this year.
Yeah,
What?
there's a
Yeah,
new series. How
for
did you
the
not know about Dexter New Blood?
dude, I
Come
finished
on.
it.
I heard about the new season, but I wasn't sure if it was like a sequel or a reboot or.
It's
It was
a new
basically
final
a new
season.
final season.
Oh my God! Wait, what platform? Because there's too many things to keep up, and I'm busy with life
It
stuff.
was for the Showtime's streaming platform. And honestly, the Showtime streaming platform only has two good shows. So you have the latest season of Dexter. I mean, like there are new shows, and the other show is Yellow Jackets, which is I highly recommend. Yellow
That's
Jackets,
a
it's
Marvel villain. That
sorry,
sounds like a
what?
Marvel villain. Sounds like the Ant-Man 1 Marvel villain, Yellow Jacket.
Yellow Jacket, it's a little bit like the show Lost. I really liked it. It basically has Juliette Lewis and Christina Ricci that are the only two
Mm.
famous actors in it.
Oh
And
wow.
it's a show about a girls' high school soccer team that are take a plane to go like on this big tournament because they made like the state like they won their state or something, and their plane crashes. And the
Oh
whole
wow.
like you find that out in the first episode where basically it's kind of like Lost where you have flashbacks at what is happening to this girls' soccer team before they took the plane and after they got stranded on this island for like I mean at the end of the season one, you know, there's still exactly like that's what I mean. Like it's like Lost, where each episode you're gonna have flashbacks of one of the girls past. Well, there's also a couple of guys. Like the coach was a guy, and the coach had brought his two sons with him. So it's anyway. I highly recommend. There's some slightly horror element and some slightly I mean, I wouldn't say. I mean, I'm not gonna name which genre, but I highly recommend Showtime's for latest
That
season
sounds
of Dexter. Sorry, go ahead.
no, sorry, just like in the Dexter, yeah. I like your recommendations. I really want to watch that Ted Lasso, but I haven't had
Mm.
time and opportunity. But like, he has some good recommendations. I just need time.
Thank you. Well, I just watch a lot of television, to be honest. But
Yeah.
I highly recommend if you watched Dexter already, put it at the top of your priority list. Finish, watch this last season of Dexter. They literally
It's
wanted to
actually
get
a
like
good ending.
So just, I mean, in your opinion, of course, and it's not a spoiler. Like, it's been like how many years for like season 8? Like, did they somehow redeem those last 15 minutes?
they do.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
they
then
do.
that's probably so. Your opinion.
Like from episode one, they do. So
It's actually a good topic just because they basically Dexter was famous for having one of the worst endings in like a TV show with season 8, and with this new season 9 they kind of you see that they wanted to redeem themselves. And the thing is that apparently the guy who created Dexter and wrote the main writer, he wrote like the first 4 or 5 seasons. I didn't know, but he left after season 4 or 5, and that's why Dexter became really
yeah.
bad. And this guy, the creator, came back to write this final season. So it's like
Hmm.
the original creator's true ending.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm okay with all the seasons, even after 4, which is where people say that he became bad. But I'm still okay. I accept everything because it still made sense in my opinion. I've never personally met, nor do I want to meet such a sociopath. But in a twisted kind of way, I do agree with Dexter's point of view. But that's a different topic, different morality topic. It's similar to Death Note and other similar things. But I can kind of understand how he's becoming more human, I guess, right? Big quotes here. But the last episode, it feels like it was written by somebody completely unrelated. Like, have you been watching the show at all? He's been changing, so for him to just throw away, spoiler alert, his son, despite having grown to like him more and more, and then just like, no, I give up everything, and then just poof.
If
That was,
if you remember all of this, Felipe, you're going to love this last season. And
Yeah.
and the actor is like 10 years later, like 10 years older because the series happens 10 years later.
Yeah,
So
they
oh,
did the
like
time
that's
skip
yes.
with realty.
the
Yeah.
time skip, yes.
Sorry, go ahead,
I
man.
like that.
Yeah, I was just saying like they did the time skip so like him looking older actually fits with the story. They didn't be like, oh yeah, it's just like 2 years later. No, they same amount of time came Prosta.
Okay, I like this idea. I can't wait to watch Dexter Shippuden then. Oh my gosh.
Dexter Shippuden. This is why one of the reasons I wanted to do a podcast with Felipe. I like how you reference like anime or like otaku stuff while we're talking about stuff that's very non-otaku. It's a good one, Felipe.
Well, cinema is pretty much otaku. Back to our early description, like otaku can be like a fan of anything. Like I once watched this show on Netflix called Atelier, but the Japanese title is Underwear. So there's this girl who wants to work in a lingerie shop, but she's a thread, like sewing materials otaku. So she loves the thread
Mm,
material of like the undergarments. Like this is amazing fabric. So she's a thread otaku basically. So she's fabric otaku. Better word, fabric. So you can be an otaku of anything. You can be a car otaku. You can be a sports otaku. So
yeah, I mean it's a good throwback that you are redefining otaku because if you notice, I started adding the definition as a picture at the beginning of the show from now on, just because a lot of people may think, oh, they're not talking about otaku stuff. In the dictionary Webster, it says otaku just means being obsessed with something, and we're obsessed with a lot of like geeky, nerdy stuff, or like so anything that we're obsessed about, we can talk about it. And I know we have like also a structure, like right now it's the Japan report. But this is just us as friends talking and catching up and talking about whatever the hell we want. So we don't have to follow the structure. The structure is just there to like guide us. And
yeah,
so yeah, so we can take any of these tangents and
yeah. We're still
so
like moving away and just talking, even for a podcast to entertain others, but to talk about ourselves. So we can link back to anything we want, like we back to reports. But staying a bit on the Lego movie side, I did hear about the Dexter Shippuden. I didn't even know it was a time skip, so now I'm coining Shippuden. But I knew about it. I just didn't know it came out already. This feels
yeah,
like when I was following like gaming news like a lot more than like these days, these past few years. I remember hearing for the longest time one of the biggest games, The Last Guardian. That was supposed to be a
ooh,
PS2 title, I think, and then it got delayed forever, and then it came out, and I never hear about, and then it just disappeared. So it's like
yeah,
one of those cases. It got hyped so much, got delayed, changed platforms, came out, and I never knew it came out. I'm like, oh, I kind of wanted to get this, and then I never heard anything, and then I checked some reviews, and it was bad. Wow, so it was like maybe because it was hyped enough, but it was a new IP compared to like Breath of the Wild being delayed, and everybody still loved it because Zelda is an established franchise. I guess
yeah.
it's a difference here, but Dexter, I heard about it being brought back for whatever reason, and then when did that happen? Like what month exactly? January, February? So
Uh,
like I
Started in October of last year. Because when
oh,
I visited Canada in December, there was already like 5 episodes out, and I watched the rest with my parents while I was visiting. It
really,
finished in the end of January of
how many
2022.
episodes?
I didn't know
It
you came.
was
Oh, sorry.
it was like 8 or 9 episodes, right, Rashid? It wasn't that
Yeah,
long of a
it was
season.
like 9 episodes. Oh, and do you know who the main secondary actor that they brought? It's uh the actor who is in Full Metal Jacket. Tom, not something Clancy. Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown. The
Yeah.
actor Clancy
Okay,
Brown. If you Google, he's a very, very talented actor who's been like big movies ever since like he was in Full Metal Jacket like Stanley Kubrick. He was the anyway. A couple of things that we just mentioned that I do want to continue. And by the way, like today, the Otaku Report, we really don't have much to talk about. Last week, the Otaku Report was most of the show. So, so we're gonna have like maybe one thing in the Otaku Report section, and then we'll jump to our video game talk. So we can like continue this conversation basically. So one thing, Matt, you said you came back last December in Montreal. I
Yeah.
had no idea.
I visited Canada for Christmas, so end of December, and then I came back in February.
Your family
Wow.
lived in Montreal?
Yes.
Okay, nice. Well, dude, next time you come back, we'll hang out for sure because Felipe and
Yeah,
I just, yeah, as a quick reminder, have known each other for like over 10 years, but I've never met Matt in real life. So, yeah, next time you come back, we'll hang out for sure, Matt.
for sure.
It's gonna be an Otaku Informer Abroad meeting. An Otaku Abroad meeting.
Inform abroad.
Informers
Inform
Abroad.
abroad.
All right, and you, so what did you think about the latest season of Dexter, Matt? I didn't ask you.
I agree with you. Like it was really good. Um, without spoiling anything, I can't really say anything else. Really,
You should watch
like I can't say
it.
much without spoiling stuff. So I'm just gonna say it was good. Much better ending than season 8. I will take
Yeah.
this ending over season 8 ending for sure.
You know, this
I mean, it is.
actually. Sorry, go ahead, Felipe.
No, it's Shippuden, right? It's Shippuden for a reason.
Yeah, it's Shippuden for a reason. It's a redo.
Actually, it's good that you bring back the Shippuden because your Shippuden reference, Felipe, made me realize if you follow the anime, Shippuden anime had like 3 years of fillers between the end
Oh
of
God.
Naruto and the beginning of Shippuden, but the manga didn't have any fillers, right? So
The opposite.
technically, if you waited 3 years to watch Shippuden like I did, you grew up like you grew up as much like you grew up. I can't even speak English anymore. You basically aged as much as Naruto did between Naruto and Shippuden if you strictly followed the anime. Because there was 3 years
Right.
between of fillers, and and Shippuden was 3 years later, right?
I think it was like
Yeah,
2.5, like close
Yeah,
enough. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so it
yeah,
is literally like Shippuden. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. But we'll get to like the gaming part stuff, but like this is a different kind of gaming because I watched most of Shippuden, like after the time skip, and then when Shippuden started its filler, I watched a little bit of that, and then I just dropped and then watched later a few episodes here and there, and then I never truly finished because I read.
Mm.
Like they milked that cow so much, it's just bones now.
I agree with you, man. I'm gonna be honest, like I used to be a huge Naruto fan growing up. Like when Naruto started airing, I was 15 years old, and when I started watching Naruto, there were only like 30 or 40 episodes out in Japan. So like I became obsessed with Naruto, and then the fillers happened, and the fillers really killed it for me because I refused to read the manga back then, and then I came to Canada and everything, so I really did when finally the fillers ended. I wasn't really watching anime anymore. I had just came into a new country. So when I started watching Shippuden again was years after I was obsessed with it, and it never. I mean, I love Shippuden, but it never. I really wish that there had not been that 3 years of fillers, because
Well,
yeah,
two different styles of anime studios playing this adaptation game. Segue for later. So the Naruto, I think it was David Production. No, I think it was David Production. I don't know. I forgot the studio that made Naruto, but they
oh,
stretched the anime
Piero.
by
Wasn't it Piero?
Piero. Yes, you're right.
oh,
Yeah, Piero.
So they stretched the anime by adding a bunch of junk fillers, while One Piece they stretch episodes themselves.
mm,
Which is ironic because One Piece would benefit more fillers, and the very little fillers it has, their quality. Just
really,
like Ball Z fillers, which is odd because Dragon Ball Z fillers had both the fluff fillers and the good fillers, like Snake Way or Goku learning how to drive. But then the infamous 5 minutes, like it's gonna explode in 5 minutes, 20 episodes later. So One Piece
yeah.
Now
needs
4 minutes.
more fillers like that, but they stretch a lot more. And Naruto was just like, no, like add fluff, a bunch of pointless fluff.
No, it's actually.
I would say that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 please go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say that Bleach also has good fillers.
Hmm.
I remember
Yeah,
watching the Bleach fillers and going like, "This is actually decent storylines for a filler. I don't mind watching this."
I agree.
Like
I'm
the
probably looking. they're all good, especially the swords when they come alive. But my
Yeah,
only plea is
when the
that
Zanpakutos became humans or like actual people, that was
uh,
a good filler arc. Yeah.
the only problem I had with Bleach is they were out of order, so to speak, because
Mm.
the anime didn't plan enough. So there's a big fight happening in the manga, but because the manga itself was another problem, like the author didn't know how to pace stuff. There's one chapter called A versus B, and then you see 3 pages out of 17 of this particular fight. So that was pointless. So the anime reached out and they got to that fight, and it's like, you know what? We have this fight, but let's turn back the clock. Let's go back in time 10 years or 10 whatever, and then it's like, why? They just like start like pace it properly or do the fluff filler where they stretch some fights. That's what they could have done a bit more to pace better. Cuz like the new captain was a good filler arc, but it was like, oh, let's take a pause in this story. Let's go back in time or like that was like out of order. That was just my beef with it.
Mm. Interesting.
But they're all
I didn't know that about the Bleach fillers. I just stopped watching Bleach after I finished the first 65 episodes, the first arc, the Aizen, where at the end of the basically episode 64, 65, so around those numbers, where you find out that Aizen was like a bad guy and then he leaves. Yeah.
that was you missed nothing. That was peak.
I mean, I think I just assumed that the fillers were gonna be bad and I just didn't watch them. And then when there were no more fillers, I just never continued the show. Sometimes fillers, I wish, I don't know. I wish they would. I understand they have to make money, but I kind of wish you would just follow the manga. And when you want to take a break to let the manga advance, you just stop the show and just, like Attack on Titan does. There's no fillers in Attack on Titan.
Also, like JoJo, right? Like JoJo doesn't have
Exactly.
any filler either.
Talking
But
about
half of that like Stardust is filler
Yeah.
technically. I never
I'm
read the
still
Oh,
not. I haven't watched any new episodes of JoJo yet because I'm just like, this is so slow.
okay. That's why last week I was telling you, Matt, and this is actually a very good point that Felipe brings because I think Stardust Crusader is a detriment to JoJo because a lot of people stop watching JoJo once they get there, and I honestly think that, like some people, like I almost want to tell them, and I think this is what you should do, Matt. You should just jump to the last 10 or 12 episodes of Stardust. Just skip everything and just go to right when they arrive in Egypt, because then those episodes are incredible. And then after that, like Diamond Unbreakable and Golden Wind and now Stone Ocean for me are freaking masterpieces of anime. Like there's like Golden Wind like impressed me so much because there was such a huge pause between Diamond Unbreakable Part 4 and Part 5. When Part 5 played, the art style, you're like, oh my god. Like the main character is dressed all in pink and he has a chest cleavage that's a heart. You're like, this looks horrible. And then you watch it and you're like, it's my favorite season.
Oh, the best to get to Egypt in Stardust is you get to see Jotaro play video games, which is like I'm gonna segment, I'm gonna link to our actual main topic here. You see Jotaro playing video games.
I don't remember that scene, but I can imagine. Um, what
So
else?
time to go back to like a main topic, no, Rashida?
Actually, we're gonna skip the Otaku report. Let's open the Otaku report. I had a lot of more questions about Osaka, to be honest, but I'll ask you next week. So without further ado, let's start the Otaku report and just keep talking about anime and JoJo for a couple of minutes.
We gotta stay true to the title, Rashid.
Don't worry, we have the whole second hour to talk just about video games. Okay, so I just want to take like 10 minutes to just keep talking about anime because JoJo. I don't know if you remember the end of Stardust Crusader, Felipe, but
More or less, yes.
like for me, okay, are you up to date with Stone Ocean?
No, I'm not, unfortunately. but I
Mm.
know the link of the character to like others.
Because if
Yeah.
I, yeah, well, Stone Ocean, well, you can wait until part two comes out on Netflix because it's the only season where instead of weekly episodes, we literally have to wait for the second batch from Netflix. But I just wanted to basically say the end of Stardust Crusader for me is some of the best JoJo. Like, if I had to rank them, I would go. Uh, I'm not gonna include Stone Ocean just because we haven't seen part two, but I would go honestly Golden Wind, then Diamond Unbreakable, or you know what? At the end of Stardust Crusader, number one for me. The end of Stardust Crusader, then Golden Wind, then Diamond Unbreakable, then Stone Ocean, and then only then I would say um, part one and part two. But I really highly recommend Matt. Just do yourself a favor. I can look up if you want an episode guide when they arrive in Egypt, and then you're gonna see JoJo in all its beauty.
Yeah, Matt. I'm sure you came across the Zawardo memes. Like now you're gonna
Oh
see
yeah.
on context why and how.
I mean,
I've
yeah,
played the JoJo fighting game. I played the
nice.
JoJo fighting game. Don't remember the name of it, but like the newest one that came out on PS4. And I always played as Dio, and like he has a special move which is just Zaworldo, and he freezes time for everything, and then you can just kill the other guy real quick. I'm like, I know the memes. I haven't seen the original one, but I know the memes.
But you spoiled yourself. It was supposed to be a big review.
That's okay. It's funny because I actually also kind of got spoiled Dio's power by playing the video game too, but not the latest one. It was the 2D like kind of like 16-bit graphics or like PS1 graphics. I think it came out on PS3. There was a JoJo
Okay.
fighting game that came out on PS3, and I was playing it basically with a friend back in the day, and I never understood why one of his ultimate of Dio was basically like and again, spoilers for JoJo, but it's not a big spoilers. If you haven't watched Stardust Crusader, it's like 20 years old, you know, or like 30 years old. We still spoilers. If anyone is planning on watching JoJo, don't listen to this, but I mean, you've already said it. You know, his ultimate power of his stand power. Because one of the fun part of JoJo is discovering what the power of the villains are. Like a huge part of the all the other parts is like, oh my God, what is his power? And whoever writes JoJo, like writes such fun, like intelligent and very smart powers for villains, and then like the whole like it's just kind of like things that you would never think of. And in the video game, he would say, ah, what do you do? And he would stop time, and then he would throw a freaking how do you say, like tractor or like this, you know, those big farming
Yeah, big
machines.
tractor.
Yeah, a tractor. Like he threw the tractor on you, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And then when I finally watched it, I was like, "Oh, now I understand Dio's ultimate in that game." But yeah,
Yeah, the game was made by Capcom.
really, dude, I have so
Yeah,
many good
Yo-
memories. Sorry, go ahead, Felipe.
Capcom game, yeah. So fighting game genius.
And they recently announced a remaster of that, right, for PS4 and PS5. I mean, for
Yeah,
like modern consoles.
need
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
that.
If you get it, Felipe, I'll get it too. All right, actually, this is a good segue. Since we're talking about video games, let us begin. I mean, before we start the video game report, and which will be the rest of the show, I did want to give a quick Clone Wars update. So, Star Wars Clone
Oh,
Wars,
yes, please.
I've gotten to season 4. I don't know how much
Oh, you're
we.
getting into good stuff. Oh, you're getting into the good stuff.
Season 3 of Clone Wars, I don't know if people who don't use a guide like I am, so just a recap for everyone who hasn't heard previous episodes. I'm watching Clone Wars while reading a guide that tells you which are the essential episodes to watch and the maybes episode to watch. So basically it makes you skip all the shitty episodes for children. Or as I would call it, filler episodes. And season 3 of Clone Wars blew my mind. It's some of the best Star Wars I've ever seen. I was even telling a friend who watched Clone Wars, I think Clone Wars for me, I would rank right now, and I'm just like a season 4. So, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, then I would say it would be Mandalorian, then Return of the Jedi, and then Clone Wars. For me, Clone Wars is my 5th favorite thing of Star Wars, period. And I would even place it
Pretty high
higher.
praise.
Sorry, what?
Pretty high praise.
I can't give it enough praise, and I think that Disney Plus, if they were smart, they would like release a these are the Clone Wars episodes if you want to catch up on Mandalore. Like I feel like they should make this guide like an official guide. Because the number of people that are sleeping on Clone Wars because they're like there's too many episodes, like I was for all of these years, don't realize what they're missing. And season 3 has some of the like first Anakin, young Anakin for me, this is the best prequel Anakin period. Like the Anakin that you get to know in Clone Wars is literally the best version of Anakin.
Once you watch all of Clone Wars, and you get to see like what they do with Anakin, and then you go back and watch episode 3, then you go, oh my god, Hayden did great in this. Like, with all the character development that you know from Clone Wars, and then you see how Hayden plays the character in episode 3, you go, wait, this makes sense now. He's not
Perfect.
crappy. He's actually doing a great job. What the? Yes.
You just hyped me up so much because I'm basically my goal is to finish Clone Wars and rewatch the prequels before the Obi-Wan series comes out. I really wish I could watch Rebels, but there's just no time before the series.
Yeah.
But
Even with a guide, I'm like, that would be too much, I think.
no, even with a guide,
Yeah.
no.
I used to love Star Wars. I watched like the first 6 movies numerous times, but like that's pretty much it. By the time I was aware of Clone Wars, I knew it was supposed to like take place after Attack of the Clones, and I was about to get into wanting to buy the extended comics, which are now Legends, so I just didn't bother because of the change, and I never became a bigger fan, unfortunately. I have a friend who used to watch so many reruns on Spike TV of like numerous times of episode 1 through 6. So I
Nice.
do want to do a new marathon again to refresh on the memory, but I still need to catch up on like what I didn't watch on The Mandalorian yet. There's so much to catch up, but One Piece is my obsession, so I'll focus on that. Other people focus on that, so
But One Piece is
One
weekly,
Piece
right?
reference is
yes.
what minute? What time is this? An
Actually,
hour in?
way ahead of you, Matt, because the first time you brought up One Piece was at minute 45 earlier.
45. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
his record that I do remember is still 24 minutes. Okay,
Yes.
so I'm not going to talk much more about Clone Wars because I want us now that we've been going for 1 hour, so we have a lot of video game news to talk about. But next week I have a lot of stuff to talk about Clone Wars.
You'll probably get
And
through up to season 5 by next week.
I checked
you mean Osaka, right?
it made me watch most of season 3, and I really want to get into some of my favorite episodes of season 3 with you, Matt, but we will next week. There's going to be less news. But season 4 has already made me skip the first 6 episodes. So it's making me skip more episodes of season 4 than season 3 so far.
Yeah, the start of season 4 is good, but I can see why the guide says to skip. If I remember correctly.
Alright, we will continue this conversation next week because now it is time for the video game report.
Video game.
Alright! Basically,
Don't talk when the little graphics happening.
gotta love how I don't even have to say it, Matt. Thank you. Alright, so first things first. We have a lot of video game news today. The first video game news that I want to talk about, and especially I want your opinion, Felipe, as the fighting game aficionado of the Otaku Informers, and it is the official opening. If you guys open the stream, I'm gonna have a lot of pictures to show during this a video game report. So right now on the stream on the screen for the audio listeners, the MultiVersus Warner Bros. Smash clone.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah,
in alpha right now, and a lot of people have played it. One second.
yeah.
A lot of people have played it, and the early previews of the game are stellar. A lot of people thought it was gonna be another Nickelodeon Smash game situation.
Kinda is.
No, because the Nickelodeon Smash game it came and went. No one's already playing it anymore, talking about
No
it.
one cares about it anymore.
But this, everybody is saying that played this, who is in the alpha, is saying that it is the best Smash-like game other than Smash, period. People are saying that the gameplay is very fast-paced, very fun, that is very well balanced, and it just got me really hyped. So on the screen right now, like basically, there's gonna be an open beta in July 2022. I have signed up for this closed alpha. I hope I'm gonna get an email so I get to try it out. But looking at the roster, Felipe, and considering everything I just mentioned, what do you think about this game?
I think there's a good balance there. There's like just the right number of characters. I think franchises per se, like IP, is a bit limited, but I do see Looney Tunes representation, Tom and Jerry, classic. Even like Jake and Superman. It's a bit limited, but it's a start, and DLC is the new norm. Unfortunately, fortunately, unfortunately. So I do like the balance here. Let me just see it again more of them. Uh,
How about
Steven's
you, Matt?
universe.
What do you think?
Well, the picture does say more revealed, so I'm guessing the full game will have more than this. This is just like the main ones they want to show off right now. Arya, I know you're excited because there's Arya Stark in it, right,
You
Rashid?
you know me well already, Matt. You know me well.
But I saw a gameplay video of it on YouTube where it was and Shaggy and Tom on one team, and I don't remember the other team, but Shaggy basically goes Super Saiyan in one of his moves. He powers up like Goku and then does like a giant Kamehameha blast. I'm like, okay, this game is sold for me. You have Shaggy basically being Goku. I'm good. That's all you
Ultra
need to show me.
savvy meme. Yes, this is the best
Yes.
part. Just taking a meme and making it reality.
Well, it's
But
actually yeah. Go ahead.
yeah,
Seeing characters like Arya Stark here and Harley Quinn, something that is kind of not PG. Whether they're like not PG or not, it reminds me of Marth and Roy way back in Melee, and everybody's like, "Who the hell are these characters?" But then it became more popular Fire Emblem in the West. But then this is not. I mean, Game of Thrones already kind of rated M, right? So it's not gonna make one kids go to that.
kind of
But
rated M.
Not
yeah,
kinda, very
that,
much so.
that was
Kind of.
that was an exaggeration as a joke. But like they're putting characters that makes you kids like, who the hell are those? Let me research some Google image and like, aha. So like, very risky but I guess PR, right? Uh,
Okay, so
not,
couple of
not-
feedback on what you guys just said. So first, um, test 1 second. Okay, cool. Just for a second, I thought I was hearing myself twice. Okay, so it is
Mm.
interesting that you guys mention the PG for you, Felipe, because I don't know if you guys remember Space Jam 2 that came out last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So in Space Jam 2, a lot of people were very surprised at some of the Easter eggs. Like during, I haven't watched the movie, but I know there was like the I think it was Orange Mechanic or Full Metal Jacket torture guys from the movie, which is an 18 plus movie, and they were in the
Yeah.
background in the movie, and people were like, wait, why do they have the guys who were like literally torturing the main character in the movie as like background characters, like Warner? So I think if you see everything that's in the Space Jam 2 movie, you can have a good idea of like future DLC characters. And also, let's not forget this is a free-to-play game. So for sure they're hiding a lot of characters that they're gonna try and sell us. But and watching this alpha, some of the videos on YouTube, they already have some interesting skins for some of the characters. So if you notice on the screenshot of the gameplay that I put on the screen, Shaggy is bougie Shaggy. So he has like a monocle and like I can't wait to see that skin go Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
But
Yeah,
definitely some of the selection here. Like I love seeing Taz. Tags and Bugs, childhood classic here. Tom and Jerry, it hits right here in the Kokoro.
and something else that's interesting, Matt, you said I'm very happy about Arya Stark, which obviously, as a huge Game of Thrones fans, I'm very happy about that. But I'm also extremely excited for Steven Universe. I was a big Steven
Mm.
Universe fan. I watched the whole show. I love the soundtrack, and the fact that they have Steven and not Pearl, not Amethyst. I forgot her name. Her voice actress is Estelle, which did a featuring song with Kanye called uh, "Good." She's a famous American, not rapper, but kind of like rapper. She was anyway. So she's the one who does the actress of the character with an afro. Oh my God, what's her name? Oh, Garnet, because every Steven Universe character is named after a precious stone. So you have ruby, amethyst, garnet. So yeah, and
I'm review of like Rick and Morty.
sorry, what?
I'm waiting for a Rick and Morty review because it's also WB distributor.
Well, we do know for
Why
sure
do
that
I feel like they? I feel like they already announced that. Why
Is
do I
it?
yeah,
feel like they already announced?
you're not wrong, Matt. This is exactly what I was about to say. From the trailer, we've seen that it was gonna be Gandalf and Rick from Rick and Morty. And we also know that, like, I mean, this is why I'm so excited for this game. Because the possibilities are like endless because of Warner Brothers franchises. Like, if you have Gandalf, it means like they're just gonna have like Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, like all of these characters could be potential DLC characters. And of course, all of like the Game of Thrones characters. I'm extremely hyped for this game. And now, like, the only reason why I wasn't hyped before because I was sure the gameplay was gonna be bad. Like, I thought it was gonna be like the SpongeBob game. And now that we know the gameplay is amazing, like I've been waiting. Like I've always been really bad at Smash Brothers. So I've been waiting for a Smash Brothers like game that I could like get good at for a long time, and this is gonna come out on PC too. So definitely gonna try and get into this alpha.
What I like is that it's like 2v2 focused, right? You're always playing with a partner. And like some of the moves actually helps your partner out. Like if you're I saw the video I watched, there was a move where one of the guy's partner was falling off the map, but then he did like a down special which like pulled his partner back up and saved him. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So there's lots of moves that like support your partner if you need it. So that would be an interesting take on a Smash like game.
If the game is always only 2v2 and there's no room for like freedom like other Smash and Smash clones. Like to be free for all, like 1v like all of four characters or 3v1 or 1v3 handicap, then it's not really flexible, I guess I would say. Personally, I wouldn't like if it's only tag team, but of course, there's been other tag team games like the Marvel vs. Capcom series or Guilty Gear, the tag team battle, and other such games. But they've never really done where multiple player, like we can play against other people's online. Like I'm on my PS4, I play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or 3, and then we play as a team against other people online. They've never really done that. It's just I control all characters versus all your characters. So this is the first time that they would do this. But if it's only tag team, it may not be good. That's a lot of testing they need to do in the online department. Because I want to team up with either of you versus like whoever else. That's a lot of like distance and like net coding to be programmed. That might be more expensive and time consuming, but I'm not an engineer. I'm not these coders, and so I don't know. But if it's only two, that's something that I personally wouldn't like if I don't have the option. But
I feel
You
like they would have to do
you
the
no.
other modes.
I actually
yeah,
didn't know about the tag team, but from the video that I saw, it was the guy was just picking one character, so there's
Right.
100% like that match.
yeah, you can probably team up with your computer, but if it's always a tag team, just like the Marvel games, but you can only control one, we have to like wait and see.
I
Well,
think
yeah,
Maximilian Dude did a video where he did 1v1 only. I remember seeing a video from Maximilian Dude where he was just like, okay, I choose Shaggy, and he went up against an AI, and it was just 1v1. So,
I've been kept tapping on this video, so I'm gonna double check because he started also a fighting game podcast with a pro player, Justin Wong, and some other YouTuber. So I'm like, more YouTubers to follow. Oh my gosh! So like, this is what I've
really.
been doing instead of actually playing games. So I'm like following this rabbit hole of like more YouTubers, which you need to just unfollow so many because you need to like prioritize who do I really want to listen to. But
don't
yeah, I do.
unfollow anyone. Just follow more and more, like me, and just make it your life, and just watch all YouTube all the time.
And then have YouTube and not games or other anime. Because I still haven't had time to catch up on Spy Family. I just put more stuff on the list and still nothing. So
Yeah.
like yeah, the endless rabbit hole of entertainment. Like you never be free. Like that's why it's difficult. Like the more we grow up, like prioritize what do I want to try to focus. Not just like hang out like the joke, but let's hang out, Matt. Like you're in Japan. Let's hang out in like 3 months, 2 days, and 5 hours. So like if you miss that window, we have to wait 10 years. I'm like, oh my gosh, like the exaggerated joke. Which by the way, I'm really down to go together and get some other people to Maryland in August, right? So I'll get some days off and gotta plan early enough and decide where to stay. I digress. Focus on games here.
No,
So
I
yeah,
mean,
so
have you guys hung out since you moved to Japan? I never asked.
not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Felipe is so popular, he does not even have time for math yet.
I
No,
wish.
no,
Just
oh
busy with
no,
work.
me.
Just busy with work and depressed because oh my god, I got an adult. So today I got an
Yeah.
adult. Adulting is tough, so it's like just like anyway. Let's get back to WB
Yeah.
multiverses.
No,
I like
but
the concept.
you bring some good points, Felipe, because like that's also why I think people should be aware of the Clone Wars guide because there's like so much entertainment nowadays. We have to limit it as much as we can, and someone wanting to watch Clone Wars, this guide would save them so much time. So I do agree. There's too much entertainment nowadays to waste time on anything that's not good enough.
One thing I did have started recently doing, maybe I don't know, 5 months. Like as soon as I moved to like even before when I was in Canada, before moving here, I was starting to watch stuff on YouTube and Netflix at 1.5 speed, depending on the show and
Yes,
movie.
we know.
So that saves some time. It does save a lot of time, but if it's stuff I have to pay attention, I put like 1.25 speed. So that's like barely 1 extra second every 4 seconds. So like I can watch a bit more. But that's one way
I'm
to
not.
like save up. What pissed me off is that Disney Plus does not have such a feature.
Yeah, they
And another
want you to enjoy it.
But
100%
Netflix
agree,
on the
Matt.
PS4 doesn't have the option either. It's only on the computer and on the mobile that you can do the speed adjustment. If I watch on the PS4 version of Netflix, I can't adjust the speed. Work in progress,
Yeah.
guys. Come on. Hey.
Definitely not for everyone because I tried listening to Trash Taste podcast once in like 1.25, and after 5 seconds I started wanting to puke. I was like, I do not
Monkey.
need to listen to Connor speak that fast. uh,
Monkey, monkey.
Monkey.
all right. So next video game news. This one, if you guys could, oops, put up the stream. Very short video. I hope it does not crash the stream or anything. So I don't know if you guys ever played. I was a big Hearthstone fan. I used to play also a lot of Magic the Gathering. I even played Legends of Runeterra, which is the Riot recent equivalent to Hearthstone, which is like a card game based on League of Legends, which is actually great. I even played a little bit of Magic Arena because I used to like playing Magic the Gathering, but the fact that it's a physical card game always was a big like I prefer an online a virtual card game because you can play online whenever you want and stuff. You don't have to go meet up with the real humans. So I was very happy a week ago. I was talking about with my friend about how it's too bad that Hearthstone started out so well. We really liked it, and it ended up after Activision acquired Blizzard. Hearthstone went, pardon my French, went to shit. So they became very greedy and everything. And I found out just a few days ago that the director of the guy who created Hearthstone, his name is Ben Brode, who is on the screen right now. He was hired by Marvel a few years ago to create an online card game equivalent to Hearthstone, but with Marvel characters and Marvel cards. And I was like, oh my
Marvel
god.
Snap.
Yeah, it's called Marvel Snap. And basically, there's no sound on this video. Um, and the thing is, basically, what he says that they're going to do with this game is exactly why I stopped playing Hearthstone. Hearthstone became pay to win very quickly, and they said that in this
Uh,
game, it's a free to play game where they insist that you will never have to pay for power. So it will, by being free to play, you'll always be able to get every card, etc. And also they said that this game is going to be very short games. So I'll give you an example. Magic the Gathering, it has a deck of 60 cards where you can have 4 times the same card. So they said instead you can only have 1 time each card, but it's 15 cards per deck. So you have a deck
oh,
of, yeah. And they said they want the games to be like 5 minutes long. And if you also look me, the reason why I put a video is because I thought also the graphics on the cards look amazing. They put a lot of work on the effects of the abilities. So it's like all the cards have like 3D effects, and they even have variants. Every card has variants, so you can have like a Hulk card where a variant is gonna be the Hulk from the 1970s art.
that's amazing. I was paying attention to the trailer because I hadn't heard about this game, this new game, and I saw the trailers. Like, this looks amazing. It's like, oh, American Chavez. I just watched Doctor Stranger. And, like, I never read
Yes.
anything. So it's amazing to recognize something recent. But like, one thing that I want to say, like, in a small related tangent, when
Hmm.
you talking about pay to win, that brings you back to like when I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh. And that game, compared to other card games, Yu-Gi-Oh is an ever expanding upward curve
Mm.
that no matter how many new support cards they bring back to help older cards like the Blue Eyes White Dragon Classic, it's still normal monster. No matter how much support they bring, the older decks, team decks will never compete against the current one. Like the curve is always upward. Whereas like Magic or even Pokemon, they're still pretty much the same up and down more or less, but like Yu-Gi-Oh is pay to win basically because you need money to buy a lot of boosters or just buy the card straight up, which are now cheaper and cheaper, like because they're getting available. but it's pay to win. You have to buy a lot of cards. Like all the good cards for certain theme decks, they're always the rare ones.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very good point. One of the reasons why I stopped playing Magic the Gathering is because it's 100% a pay-to-win game. You're gonna play against someone who's gonna have like a $30 land card. You know what I mean? Like if you have like a $50 deck and you're playing against a guy who has a $1,000 deck, you know, the odds are definitely gonna be against you, which is why I used to like Hearthstone because at the beginning, the first couple of years, Hearthstone, just by being free to play, you could get a deck that has all the best cards if you basically focus on that one deck and use your free currency to buy. Like anyway, my point is, this game they're saying that it's not going to be pay to win, and I'm very excited and I can't wait to play it.
I might
All
give it
right.
a shot because I think Marvel's been growing on me because of the MCU, even though I've always favored DC a bit more because of character designs and certain powers. Maybe because of the movies, I've been favoring more and more Marvel stuff, so I might give it a shot.
Like just to give you an example, you
Uh,
see. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
go ahead, Rashid. Go ahead.
No, I'm actually curious. How are you into online card games, Matt? What do you think about this?
I think it was the last episode where I talked about how deep in the Hearthstone lore I was and how big of a player of the game I was originally. But I like online card games. I quit Hearthstone like you once it got way too much pay to win and like everything you have to pay. That's when I was like, no, I'm good. But this looks really interesting. I'm kind of suspicious about their claim about it's not going to be pay to win because this is Marvel and Marvel is now Disney and Disney these days wants to like get all the money they can out of every little property they have. So I'm like, sure, you guys can say it won't be pay to win, but like I don't know. I don't know how long this is going to be. I
Well,
Oh
hope
Disney
it
yeah.
needs
stays
the
not pay to
money.
win.
Disney needs the money, or they may need the money. I didn't finish reading the article yet, but like they may lose the rights to Mickey Mouse, which is kind of ironic.
Yeah, that
So
would be
they might
hilarious.
need the money. Yeah.
But
No, but
overall, yeah, like I'm with Felipe where I didn't know about this game until now, but like this video, it sure looks good, and like the cards look really nice, like you said, Rashid.
mhm.
So I'm interested for sure.
Well, it will be available on cell phone and PC. So if you have a cell phone, you can download the app. And but no, you have a very good point, Matt. Honestly, they say it's not gonna be pay to win, but these companies lie all the time, especially when it comes to like a free to play game. What I'm hoping is just going to be like pay for to get the cards faster. Like if you want like this perfect deck right away so that you can play ranked, then you can pay so that the first week of release you already have all the best cards. But I'm hoping that just by playing the game, you're gonna be able to get the cards that you need fairly quickly. Me,
Yeah.
as I said, the only reason why I'm hyped for this game is because it's the guy who created Hearthstone. And I do know that he left Activision Blizzard because he didn't like how greedy Activision became. So we'll wait and see. All
So
right.
all these come to the dark side.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna try it. If it's not good, I just won't play it.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Next news. Starfield, or
Ooh.
as I really like how they called it on the last stand. I haven't watched the episode yet, but they did an edit called Starfailed because
Yeah, I watched that edit too.
Was planned for 2022 November release. There was a big deal about it, and it has officially been delayed to the first half of 2023. So
As
this,
well as the next game from Arcane. So there was two big games that they were like, yeah, delayed. Sorry guys, and I was like, wow, Xbox.
And there we go, Matt showing us his video game knowledge because I completely forgot to mention Redfall. Thank you for having my back on this news because I would have not remembered. But yeah,
No problem.
so Redfall was supposed to be that first-person shooter with very high graphics that was supposed to be in Russia, right?
Yeah.
Because I do remember the trailer, like, or the very, very short teaser that they showed. Do you think they may have delayed Redfall because of what's happening in with Russia, or do you think it's just because the game is not ready?
For Redfall, I think it might be both. I think it's like Starfield where it's just too big of a game and they still need more time. But for sure, the situation with Russia doesn't make the game look very nice right now. So they probably were like, well, we need extra time for development anyways, so this works out.
I wonder, mentioning about Russia, I have to mention again. But the latest One Piece chapter, there was a little hint about war and an implication about Russia. So I'm just
Really?
thinking, they're very snarky there that this big bad of the current arc was from a kingdom that was very implied, like a Russia metaphor or
Hmm.
allegory. So like very on the nose there, Oda.
Interesting. No, dude, you can bring up One Piece as much as you want. This is an otaku podcast, and I'm sure that anyone who likes anime, I know, I wouldn't say the percentage, but I'm sure that a majority of people who watch anime watch One Piece. I don't know. I personally don't. I know Matt does, so yeah. One Piece references are welcome, Felipe, don't worry. So it is interesting though. So you think that Oda, right? Um, like how big was the wink or the reference? Was it like a very small thing or a major part of the plot?
Well, something about no, it's just like part of the character's flashback. So he's from a country or a kingdom where he used to fight to get money to pay royal tributes, basically tax. But these countries are trying to like annex other countries or something to get
I
money.
see.
Like oh, Ukraine much, so kind of sad, right? So like he always been like whether it's like something very political like this or just throwing like landscape. One Piece is famous for like getting inspiration of like many areas. The current arc Wano is basically Edo Japan for many aspects, like the architecture, the culture, but it's also because it's closed down the borders. So just like Edo period Japan, like other older, and there's an island where it's basically Spain, you know, like very dance fever passionate, and there's a country where is Italy, Venice, you know, and so on. You know, Oda is a genius.
Interesting. So, Starfield. So first, Matt, so what do you think about the news that Microsoft has delayed Starfield and Redfall?
It's off now, like, okay, a little tangent, but it relates to this, so it relates to it. 2 weeks ago, I was downtown Yokohama just looking around shops, and then I go up to a big electronics store, and they have Xbox Series X and S available for purchase. And I was like, wow, okay, that's cool. And I was actually tempted to buy the S. I'm like, I already have a PS5, I don't need the X. But the S I could use as a Game Pass machine, basically, and just try games. And I was so close to buying one, and then I went, but there's no games I want on Xbox. Like, there's no exclusives on Xbox at all. And now that Starfield is delayed, I'm like, Microsoft, Microsoft, are you okay? There is nothing. There is nothing for you guys. Halo, the new Halo game, I don't hear anyone talking about that anymore. It's no more Starfield. Gears of War, did the new Gears of War come out? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. Um,
I didn't
like,
even know there
there's
was a
just
new Gears
no
of
hype.
War.
Yeah. Like, there's no hype for any Microsoft games right now. Like, sure, you keep buying studios and, like, buying up IP and stuff, but you guys still haven't done anything with all these purchases. There's still no reason to buy an Xbox. So, I'm like, okay, even Nintendo has a better year than you guys right now. And like, Nintendo doesn't care. Nintendo's like, we do what we want. Here, have a Kirby game. Wait a few months. Here, have a Fire Emblem game. So yeah, it
Nintendo
doesn't
is
look
having a
great for
huge
me.
year. Yeah, yeah. How about you, Felipe? What do you think?
I think I'm indifferent to be honest. I've been playing less and less game these past few years, but I did try a new game. I think I'll like enter the Gungeon like with my friend last week.
Hmm.
Those are pretty
That's not a
fun.
new game. It's been out for 10 years. But okay, carry on.
I played this game. That's my point here. Like you just play something different. But like I've been having less and less time to just try new stuff. And all this talk about like Game Pass, that's cool. But the Game Pass is most beneficial for people on welfare or students. Like if you guys don't have
Wow.
time or work from home or other stuff, like you have
Wow.
time always available. So that's cool. Just like Netflix, we'll never be able to watch 100% of the catalog. So even if I were to ever get an Xbox, which I won't, that's cool story, bro. Like going back to even the PSN Plus and the new tiers, getting all those games, I'll never be able to play. So there is no point in download unless it's a game that I care personally, right? And then I'll get the free ones. But having a choice just limits the options. You know, like there's so much to choose for. I just don't know what to choose, so I just don't choose. So having all these options for the Game Pass, great story. Yay. That's it.
Well, that was one hell of a hot take, Felipe. But well, I do want to, for context, you've never been a like American RPG kind of guy, right? Have you ever played Skyrim
No.
or Fallout? Never, right? So yeah, I think you're the wrong. You're not their demographic at all. Like I think you're actually like almost like the last person they're targeting because you've never played Skyrim, which is, one of the biggest video game of not only like of our generation, like not of this console generation, but of the last two console generations and PC. So
Yeah, just
yeah.
for not being like lack of interest, it's just time. And other games I was already playing. So
No, but Matt, you brought up a very interesting point, which is there's no reason right now to get an Xbox. Like
Yeah.
as you said, you wanted to get an Xbox Series S, and you ask yourself, but what am I gonna play on it? And
Yeah.
look, first, I do want to give the benefit of the doubt to Microsoft because they just spent like $67 billion to buy Activision Blizzard and a bunch of other studios that came with that. They spent 7 billion plus to buy Bethesda, and 100% they're playing the long game. So like I have no
Yeah.
doubt that in the future, like a year or two from now, Xbox Game Pass is going to be an incredible deal. Like that Microsoft is going to like once they get freaking a new Call of Duty, and like they get Starfield and they start getting like
Mhm.
by buying Bethesda, they didn't buy just Bethesda. They bought like ZeniMax, which is like Wolfenstein, Doom, Bethesda. There's like a bunch of games, right?
Right.
But in 2022, they have nothing.
Yeah.
And part of me,
I think
yeah,
I think summer 2023 they'll Microsoft will come out with like massive announcements being like, okay, this game's coming out, this game's coming out, we're working on this, we're doing this, we'll add this to Game Pass. But like for now, summer 2022 and the rest of the year, I see no reason to do anything with Microsoft right now.
I was extremely hyped for Starfield personally. Like I really wanted to like I game on PC a lot. I've been gaming on PC a lot, especially since the pandemic started. And I was like really looking forward to playing Starfield on PC because that's one thing that Game Pass has, that if you have a PC, you don't even need an Xbox.
Yeah.
So I wanted to basically upgrade my PC, like because I have a gaming laptop that's pretty old, like many years old, and I really want to get a gaming desktop. And I was like, oh, I need a new gaming desktop for November so that when Starfield comes out, I can play it with like ultra graphics or like stuff like that. I was a huge Skyrim fan. If anything, Skyrim made me realize that American RPGs were freaking amazing. So, and my problem with this announcement is that I feel like Microsoft lied to us. And this is really what bothers me with it is that I never like one of my friend I kept telling him there's no way Starfield is coming out this year. We haven't even seen one gameplay picture. And it's supposed to come out in 6 months. And then there was a month ago like a Bethesda Xbox like sit down where Todd Howard was there, the Bethesda CEO, and he was like Starfield is going to be revolutionary. It's going to be Skyrim in space, and it's going to literally be as revolutionary as Elden Ring was like recently. And the way they were talking about it, I was like, why would they say all of that if it's not coming out at the end of the year? So I went from being 100% sure it wasn't coming out this year to being like, oh, so they just had this like little like sit down with Phil Spencer and Todd Howard about Starfield, and they announced that in June for E3, there's going to be like an Xbox Bethesda conference where, like, an Xbox conference where out of the hour and a half, 30 minutes is going to be focused on Starfield. I was like, oh my god, the
Right.
game is coming out this year. Because, usually if you start marketing a game, you start marketing it, I feel like just like movies, like 6 months before, so that people don't forget about it. So I was like, oh my god, they're doing all of this. They're serious about releasing it this year. And then when they announced the delay, I just felt lied to basically. I just felt like they last year when they said that it was coming out this year, they knew it wasn't gonna come out this year. And they probably just wanted to have a big announcement like in the like Xbox showcase. So yeah,
I
yeah,
will
please.
I will give them the benefit of a doubt because, like, in game development, things happen, and like one day it could look fine, and then the next day, there's a game-breaking bug that shows up that a tester finds, and then they're like, "Oh crap, we need to fix this," and they find out that it's like a really big issue, and that delays the progress of everything. So, like,
Yeah.
something like that could have happened after they announced the release date, and they're like, well, shit, we have to, well, we need to delay it now. Like,
Yeah.
I won't, you have to give them the benefit of doubt of that, but, yeah, just,
So you think they thought they could make it and then something happened? Because
yeah,
I don't
I
think
feel like there's a good chance that they thought they could make the November date, and then something behind the scenes happened, and they were forced to delay it.
Not to mention, we're
yeah.
still kind of in the middle of a pandemic, even though it's kind of subsiding. So year three, there's a lot of extra precautions they need to take if they truly want to release the game on time, right? And that's why there's been not just games, but movies and shows and a bunch of other stuff delayed.
Yeah, no, 100%. And not only that, there's been so many video games that have been delayed since the beginning of the pandemic that like especially when you take into consideration for me Cyberpunk for me changed everything because no company wants to be the next Cyberpunk. Like no company wants to like literally CNN was talking about it. And at the beginning, I showed what CNN thinks otaku is. CNN thinks otaku is a dirty word at the beginning, in the sense like CNN is the most mainstream as like what as mainstream as you can get. And when they talk that you had like a horrible launch, like it's very bad. It doesn't look good. But yeah, I was surprised also to hear that apparently it's the first Bethesda game that is delayed since like Oblivion, which really blew my mind. Because they release huge games that like. Anyways, so this is the Starfield news. Basically, me personally, I think Xbox is going to be fine on the long term, but for 2022,
Yeah.
I think they're screwed, especially if like God of War Ragnarok does come out at the end of the year. I think it's going to be huge. I think it's going to be huge for Sony that They don't have Starfield as a competition anymore. Talking about
But they have
Sony,
a
no, sorry,
they'll
go ahead.
have a Pokemon competition, Scarlet, Violet and Scarlet.
I think this year is one of the
Sony's like, that's cute, Nintendo. That's cute. Let me deal with the adult stuff.
No, you're both absolutely correct. I think first Nintendo is having one of their best year. We got Arceus this year. We got
Mm.
the first Kirby 3D that apparently is amazing. We're getting Scarlet. We're getting a new generation of Pokemon this year. That's huge. And not only
But at the
that,
same time, Sony's like, we respect that. You guys are doing great, but like it's so different their demographic that they're like it doesn't really affect us that much. Like you guys are doing great. Good job, Nintendo. That's awesome. But like it doesn't really eat into our demographic that much. We'll be fine.
Yeah, Nintendo was
yeah,
never part of the console wars. They always do their own thing and they always succeed in their own niche in a sense,
Yeah.
which is
yeah.
bad, I guess, because if they're not participating in certain things, they may not get as much coverage, even though they'll succeed in their own right, but they'll never make crazy numbers. Although the Switch sales number is pretty crazy. I think they beat the PS2 finally, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yes,
they beat some number recently. I can't remember what.
they beat I think the Wii. I think the Switch just beat the Wii. I'm pretty sure PS2 is still at the top. But yeah, Nintendo Switch has surpassed the 100 million units sold. And I do know that PS2, I think it's 140 million sold, which is number one, because it was basically used as a DVD player for a long time.
That's
But
what we did originally in my family.
Okay, just double a quick check.
mhm.
So Switch is currently at number 5. So
What are the?
PS2, DS, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, PS4, Switch.
Mm. Oh, it still
Wow.
hasn't passed the PS4?
No, PS4 is real strong.
Well, this is a perfect segue to talk about. So from now on, the rest of the episode is going to be pretty much all about Sony because we got some pretty major Sony news in the last week. First, breaking news from today: Death Stranding 2 has officially been confirmed by Norman Reedus himself in an interview.
Wait, 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 wait,
Uh,
wait, wait, wait,
if
wait,
you,
wait.
Matt, if you open the stream, I actually have a picture on from Gematsu, or
Okay.
Jimatsu actually in Japanese, which is an article that came out today, an interview of Norman Reedus. I think it was for The Walking Dead something. Right, so basically, if you see on the picture, I put the excerpt where the news came from. So basically, the interviewer asked him,
Yes.
"Okay, so you got the book going on. Norman Reedus apparently is gonna have a book coming out. You've got the final season of Walking Dead coming out, then the spin-off, and you're finally filming Death Stranding, the video game." So Norman Reedus replied to that,
We, we
"We,
just started the second.
yeah, we just started the second one." To that, the journalist replied, how did that come about?" And Rita said, Del Toro, who gave me my first movie, called me up and said, "Hey, there's a guy named Hideo Kojima. He's gonna call you. Just say yes." Which I think is an amazing quote, especially coming from Guillermo del Toro, who, just for FYI, is the guy who made Pan's Labyrinth and recently won an Oscar for both Best Movie and Best Director for The Shape of Water, about a woman who falls in love with a fishman. No joke. That
Mm.
won that won the best.
It's a very interesting movie. Very
So
interesting
that's
movie.
it's Aquaman in a multiple universe, in a parallel
Yeah,
universe.
Aquaman if it was in the Pan's Labyrinth universe. So yeah, and he basically added. Then I was in San Diego, and Hideo came up with a came with a big group of people. He's from Tokyo, and he showed me what was going. He showed me what he was working on, which was On a game called Silent Hill. I actually didn't read that part.
Oh yeah, originally before Kojima left Konami, he was working on Silent Hills with Del Toro and Norman Reedus. So originally, Del Toro and Kojima were working together to make a new Silent Hill game, and that's what PT was. Remember PT, that little demo on PS4, that horror game demo? And then if
Well,
you finish PT, there was a cutscene of this guy walking down a night street, and the camera turns, and it's Norman Reedus, and everyone was like, "What the hell?" And then it fades to black, and it says Silent Hills, and everyone was like, "What the hell?" But
there's been so
then,
many
yeah,
people that sold their PS4 with the demo because they can't download that anymore. So it's
yeah,
kind of could have been, huh?
I have a couple of questions because you just informed me of something. Even though I prepared the news, I had no idea. So so PT was just a demo? Because I've heard about PT, but I didn't never knew what it was.
It means
yeah. It was just a
playable.
demo. PT
Just
literally means playable teaser.
I
That's why
had
they
like
called
teaser.
it
no
PT.
idea.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be a Silent Hill game with Norman Reedus.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was going to be a new Silent Hill game starring Norman Reedus with Del Toro writing it and Kojima producing it.
And why did it stop being a Silent Hill game? What happened? What did Konami do?
Konami. Because Konami do what
Basically,
Konami.
Kojima left Konami. Like, Kojima and Konami had their big breakup, right? And they just were like, okay, well, we're splitting up, basically. We're breaking up. I loved you. Um, and that's what caused Silent Hills to end. With Kojima leaving, they were just like, okay, well, we can't really, we'll shelve this because Kojima left and then Del Toro left too. So
But I thought that Kojima left Konami because of Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. Didn't he like was
yeah,
not
that
credited
was the
for it?
main reason why he left. That's the main
Yeah,
reason he left, and because he left, they didn't proceed with Silent Hills.
Okay, so he was working on both Metal Gear Solid 5 and Silent Hill at the same time?
Yeah, he was like on pre-production of Silent Hills when he was finishing up Metal Gear Solid 5.
just a typical story of a company abusing one of their best creators. Nothing new here, folks.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like last week or 2 weeks ago when we talked about Square Enix, I did tell you a story about how the guy who wrote and directed Final Fantasy Tactics and Vagrant Story, he got also pressured slash miss. Well, he also left in the middle of Final Fantasy 12 development, and that led to a half-baked game. So yeah, it's unfortunate that that happened with Kojima as well. I never played Metal Gear Solid 5 to be honest. I never finished Metal Gear Solid 4 even though I played more than half of it on PS3. I really want to go back and finish 4 and play 5. I heard they were really good. But anyway, I digress, as they say.
Yeah,
There's been
sorry for
many,
the digression.
No, no,
yeah,
no
there's
worries.
been many franchises that started because people left certain projects. Like we got Street Fighter 2, but it's a different creator, producer from the Street Fighter 1. The person who started Street Fighter 1 went on to create Final Fight and
Hmm,
other companies like uh, Street Fighter 2. They went on to create King of Fighters franchise, Art of Fighting,
really?
the SNK. They found SNK. I'm not sure the exact names. There's too many names, but even like the guy Inafune, the Mega Man creator, he left and he created his own Mighty Nine. What's it called again? I forgot the name.
Mighty Number 9.
Mighty Number Nine, big flop. But he went on to create his own thing.
Hmm.
So Kojima creating his own studio and making the Death Stranding, like they all leave because of creative reasons or bad management or whatever. So they just make their own stuff after. Still similar, right? Whether it's successful or not, it's a different story. But they always usually leave.
I mean, hey, if they leave and go create new franchises, I'm all for it, to be honest. Like, as long as they leave after finishing the game that they were working on previously. It's just really sad when a director leaves in the middle of making a game, which is usually a bad sign. But Matt,
You- That's your comment earlier, right? He left, then he came back early just to finish his vision, right? Or even the Star Wars franchise, some people left and they came back to direct or something. So that's always a success story, I guess,
hmm,
which has not been that much for certain IP, like Sony Spider-Man IPs on Sony side. Just for a small tangent, because Morbius kinda sucked. But I
um,
digress here.
that will be a conversation for another time for Morbius. But Matt, real quick, have you played Death
Yeah,
Stranding 1? Because I have not.
I have not either. I want to, especially with the new definitive version for PS5. Like I want to at some point. But frick, I have so many games I want to play, so it's in the backlog big time.
Yeah,
But who
no,
wants to
that
play the walking simulator?
well, that's the meme about Death Stranding, right? But I've heard
Yeah.
incredibly good things about Death Stranding 1. Like when it came out, when it first came out, it was getting like almost perfect scores in Europe. I know there was a controversy that Kojima said some American game journalists gave it a bad review because they said it was too artistic for them. And Kojima famously said when the game came out, it was like, "Oh, the game is getting perfect scores in Europe, but not in America because Americans only like shooter games." And a lot of people got mad just because from what I've heard, it's not for everyone, this running, because it is a very artistic game. I haven't played it, so I can't say, but from the just from the cinematics I saw in the trailers, it looked very artistic. But I really want to play it, and I will play it on
Oh,
PS5. This new director's cut that you mentioned.
yeah. I do know a little bit about the game. Like, I know the main cool feature of it, where when the game first came out, we all know that, like, a big part of the game is you're the messenger guy and you have to bring stuff to one person, like, across the map, right?
Hmm.
But when the game first came out, it was like a barren desert type area field. But in the game, you can, like, build a bridge or you can make a little power station that powers a little road or something, right? But the main gimmick to the game is like that's online. So if someone in
Mm.
India makes a bridge over where you're close to, it shows up in your world as well. So
Oh,
you
really?
can use that bridge in the end. And so now, ever since the game has been released, people have been building all this stuff to help make your travels easier to wherever you need to go. So
Oh my
if you
God.
played the game when it first came out and you played the game now, it's two different games basically. Because now in the game, like there's so much infrastructure that it's so much easier to get around
Hmm.
and you don't have all the trouble that you did originally. That's why when Kojima, in his interviews about the game before it came out, he was talking about it and referencing it kind of like a social network where everyone together combined would make the game better. And that's what he meant. By making everyone build stuff together, everyone had a better game in the end.
Two things. First of all, I just thought of Civilization and Minecraft and Fortnite for some reason mashed
Hmm.
up. So that's
Right?
pretty cool. 'Cause you know that the reference of why each game. But the second one, that just sounds like it's gonna be like such a heavy toll on like the servers and everything. If it's building them and the download time and updates, it just sounds crazy. It may be accessible, but like if I were to play this in like 5 more years, the game's already like 2, 3 years old already. Like if I still play in 5 years, who's to say until when the servers will be up and when they do go down, like the final build of the game will have everything that has been built to that point? That's a
Who
question that
knows? Yeah.
the answer just like all the Mario Maker servers. What happened to those stages? Like, do they stay up? Is it like a final build? Do you have to download whatever levels and then that's it? That's tough
Right.
Yeah,
to say.
those are very good
But
points.
yeah, I didn't know about that. That's amazing. Might give that a shot.
one of the video game journalists that I follow said the same thing as you at the beginning, Felipe. He said before it came out, I was like, why would I want to play a walking simulator? And then he said, and then I played it, and it blew my mind, and it's now one of my favorite PS4 game. So I think that you might be surprised if you give it a shot. So, but one question, Felipe, would you play it if it was free? Because, and this is the segue, we now officially have the PlayStation Plus premium list of games that will be available. The famous Sony Spartacus project that has been rumored for a year at least now, a year or two, that is supposed to be the Game Pass competitor. And now we officially have what it will include because we knew that there was going to be 3 tiers. And now we have the list of games included in each. And if you look on the screen, I have put first 2 pictures, the pricing summary and the type of games for each. So as you can see, the only thing that I think is really stupid about this new PlayStation Plus Premium is that I literally like follow video game news every day. I love following video game news. Just like some people watch CNN, I watch video game journalists. So basically, there's 3 tiers, which are impossible to remember. PlayStation
Essential,
Plus.
extra, premium. Easy.
I keep thinking that premium is the middle one. Like I keep forgetting that because there's also the deluxe, which I'm so confused about. Which I don't even.
Well, deluxe. Don't worry about it because that's basically just for certain countries that don't have PS Now right now. So the countries that right now don't have access to PS Now will get PS Plus Deluxe instead of Premium. That's the only
Yeah, do
difference.
you
Really,
ever
don't worry
survey?
about Deluxe.
For the longest time, I thought Plus and Now were the same thing, but they weren't. But
Yeah.
now they're merging too, right?
Now they're
And not to
merging.
mention that Deluxe, unless they change, or unless I'm confusing, but Deluxe was the name, right? But now it's just extra, and Premium is
It was never
Deluxe
the
no.
name.
never was a name. No.
Oh
So
no, okay, then I'm just confusing. So back to your answer. If it's available on Essential, I would play Death Stranding. I'll give it a shot because it's a type of game that has the hype, the names, and now that you explain like the gimmick, heck yes, I want to try that. But if it's a free game that I saw like a sports game or like a pinball or Candy Crush, whatever clone that's just like a different coat of painting, why would I bother wasting my time adding to the library? Sure, I have the
yeah,
right because it's free, but why? It's a game that is just like a sports game or whatever. I don't care. So
yeah.
I'm just adding to already like limited time. So I wouldn't play that. But that's trending. I would.
Wait. I'm looking at this closer, and for the Essential, you don't get 2 monthly downloadable games for Essential anymore? Am I reading
They
this right?
I'm looking at it right
no, no.
now.
We do get it. It says the fourth line, 2 monthly download games, and it's on the 3 lines. So yes, we do get it.
I'm going to
Okay.
make the picture bigger so I can actually read it from far.
Because I see the X on it, I'm like, okay, X means usually you don't get it, but does the X
No,
mean
no.
you do get it?
You've been in Japan too long, Matt. Circle is yes, X is no, but it just
Yeah.
means mark. It's just a check mark. So we do get it.
Yeah. Sorry, my Japan brain was kicking in.
Dude,
My
no, no,
bad.
no, no. It's not your Japan brain, because I actually thought the same thing as you, Matt. Actually, Felipe, that was a very good clarification. So the X means it is available.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because
it's included. Yeah.
yeah, like the last line, like time limited game trials, it's checked only on premium, but that means that if you're paying
Yeah.
premium, you wouldn't get it. So no, it just should be a check marked for like clarification, like the Nike
That was
Yeah.
symbol.
my brain fart.
No, no,
Yeah.
it's fine because I got the same brain fart as you. But okay, so for the audio listeners, let us go through what it says on these pricing summary. So these are in US dollars, and like nobody pays for PlayStation Plus monthly, right? Everybody like I always each year I wait for Black Friday and they have a discount on PlayStation Plus and I'm able to get it for like 50 Canadian dollar for the whole year. So every year I
Right.
wait for that discount to renew it. So the annual price for the same PlayStation Plus that we have today, it's 60 US dollars per year. And that is without any discount. And that's the price that it still is currently. So if you have the PlayStation Plus right now, you will be automatically upgraded to the Essential for the same price. But now, if you want the Extra, which gives you access to PS4 and PS5 games, it is $40 more USD for the whole year. I'd rather we just compare with yearly prices because I think that anyone who like the monthly prices are very well, essential is $10 USD per month and extra is $5 more, so it's 50% more expensive. But
You
yeah,
quick pause. There's absolutely no reason why you should get monthly. Of course, money,
exactly.
but some basic math, it's a lot cheaper to get annual.
100%. And they do it on purpose to like trap you for a year so that you don't like
Yeah.
go to Game Pass and buy an Xbox because you're like I already paid for a year. But anyways, so for the essential, you get everything that you get today, nothing new. But if you get the extra for $40 US dollars more than it currently is, you get downloadable PS4 and PS5 games and Ubisoft Plus Classics games lineup, and that's it.
Yes.
And if you get the premium, which is the highest tier, you get everything from the extra, but for $20 USD more per year. So it's basically $120 per year USD, whereas the essential one, the one that we currently have, is $60 per year. So if you want for the premium, you're paying double the price that you're paying yearly. But what
Yeah.
it gives you is PS4 and PS5 games, but it also gives you downloadable PS1, PS2, and PSP games and
For
streamable.
for, for Vita, man. Uh,
I know, right? I
that's to be.
completely, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Let's go back.
Oh, no, no, no. You cut me off whenever you want to add something, just because there's just so much news that I'm going through it. But if you guys have anything to say, don't hesitate to cut me off. And streamable PS3 games, which was a little bit of a controversy because people were mad that you can't download PS3 games,
Yeah.
but you can download PS1, PS2, PSP, and PS4 and PS5 games. So PS3 the only console in this whole PlayStation Plus premium that you cannot download the games. You have to stream them. So you need a good internet. And last but
Mm.
not least, the premium also includes time-limited game trials. All right, so I'm gonna go now. So this was the information that we had before, but now the breaking news is that we have the list of the games included in each. So basically, if you have the PlayStation Premium, or it doesn't matter, just gonna say Premium from now on. These are the PS4 and PS5 games included that we're going to have included with the extra. Yeah, I keep forgetting the names because these are terrible names. So the middle tier, the one that's $40 USD more per year. I don't know if you guys see it, but we have the list of PS4 and PS5 games, and it's very impressive in my opinion. So this is the PlayStation Studios game that are included. So we have, I'm gonna name the big names of what are, in my opinion, the big names. So you have Bloodborne PS4 for free. I'm gonna say for free that are included. Days Gone, that's included. Death Stranding and Death Stranding Director's
Mm,
Cut, PS4
yeah.
and PS5.
So the PS4 and PS5 version.
And this for me was the first game that I was like, oh my god, this is amazing because I really want to play the PS5 version of Death Stranding. So for me, automatically, this is worth it because for $40 more for the whole year, I get a game that I would have paid as much just for that one game. What else? You also get, so that's why I said
Demon
for,
Souls. That's That's great.
Demon's Souls
Demon's Souls, one of the
PS5.
prettiest games on PS5 still. You, you get it included.
This
Oh my
Demon's
god,
Souls.
this list is amazing.
I know, right, Felipe? So, like, for people like even me and you, who there's a lot of games on this list that we haven't played, it's really amazing value. Demon's Souls PS5, I got it with my PS5 at launch, and I paid it full price. And seeing that it's free, included like free with PlayStation like extra, I'm like, imagine if I had waited 2 years. Well, 2 years. Like technically, you
I
waited,
have
man.
Mind
waited
you,
2 years. I have
start
waited
a
2 years
side.
for this.
The
I might
gra
just be inspired to get a side hustle to become the main hustle, so I can just have work from home and just start streaming this because this is amazing. Oh my god.
Yeah, and we're just getting started, Felipe. Like for me, PlayStation, as like Sony has really hit it out of the park with this list. So next on the list is that's worth mentioning, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. I don't
Yeah.
have the Director's Cut on PS5. I have the PS4 version.
Okay.
So for me, this is already boom, instantly worth it because I really wanted to see what the Director's Cut looked like on PS5. So now we
That's
do.
what it looks like. Just
This is also available on the PS4, so I also would like to get that.
100%. What else? Horizon Zero Dawn. So the thing is that there's a lot of these games that if you had PlayStation Plus, they were already you already got them for free before. Like Days Gone,
yeah.
Bloodborne, God of War, PS4. Those came with the PlayStation Collection for anyone that got a PS5.
Mhm.
So next is Infamous First Light and Second Son.
First Light, really underrated, better than Second Son. That's my hot take for today. First Light was basically like a DLC standalone game based on Second Son, but I had more fun with it than the bigger game. Just hot take.
Wait, First Light was a DLC. I don't remember. I saw a bit of Infamous on the PS3 era, which Cole was one of the characters in the PlayStation Smash clone attempt. But we'll get to it another day, maybe.
Have you
Yeah.
played any of the Infamous games, Felipe?
Just a little bit. I think a demo of the Infamous, the first one, and I had no idea that First Light was a DLC. Really? So it was famous enough. It even had two
Infamous,
characters in the Bad Smash
yeah.
character.
Infamous 2 even had a vampire DLC. That was special. That was weird. But yeah, Infamous 2 came out with a standalone vampire DLC where Cole just gets drunk during Halloween, and then the rest of the game is you play as a vampire, trying to like suck up everyone's blood, but everyone's blood was electricity, and I was just like, this is just goofy, but I enjoy this.
Just doing stuff.
I had
Yeah.
no idea. I've never played Infamous, and I don't think even if I have this, I don't think I'll ever play it to be honest. But yeah, it's nice that it's here for people who want to give it a shot. Next big game, Marvel Spider-Man and Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales are included in this list.
Yes.
For me, the fact that Miles Morales PS5 and PS4 are included in this list is huge. I do know that the PS5 Miles Morales is the best-selling game on PS5, I think. And it sells like
Hmm.
it was been selling like pancakes since they for anyone that can get a PS5. So the fact that they give it for free, it's very, very, very good deal. That me, I've never played any of the Spider-Man game on PlayStation. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Interesting.
like the second this comes out, I'm 100% playing Spider-Man now that I know that I can get it included. Something
One
interesting.
thing, it's kind of sad, kind of disappointing that they didn't do the Spider-Man remaster in the PS5 version of the original game.
It's
You
not.
can only get the PS4 version of the original game, but hey.
I was assuming that the Marvel Spider-Man included the remaster, to be honest. If they include Miles
No.
Morales but not the remaster, I think it would be very weird. Maybe they just forgot it?
Spider-Man Miles Morales came out. It's just the Miles Morales game. The remaster of the original Spider-Man was a separate DLC code that you could get with Miles Morales. So it was just two separate games. That's why I'm like, okay, they didn't bother giving you the PS5 remaster of the original game. They're like, yeah, you just get the normal PS4 version.
I find it
One
very
thing I
weird. Go ahead, Felipe.
no, sorry, go ahead. Oh, what's that?
No, 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 it's
What's
fine.
weird?
Please, please. I'm curious what you were gonna say.
No, I just find like odd that just like the infamous aspect, I see The Last of Us remastered and Left Behind. I bought that, like I got super lucky to find like at $6 discount, like the full game, including Left Behind the DLC. So why is that two separate entries? That's what I find like odd.
Because Left Behind was also a standalone game you could buy separately. So that's probably why they kept it separate.
Was it?
It
Or
wasn't
did they
just, yeah.
One thing I do want to point out, if you guys noticed or not, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, the PS5 version, the PS5 Ratchet and Clank is not on this list, which is very surprising
Who
because
knew?
it came
not
out.
even Nexus included? That's something that's really odd.
It
I
is
think
very
it's just
odd.
because it's like their new, well, one of their newest big AAA titles, right? And like Sony has been really, really vocal about how they don't want to put their AAA games on this service. So I'm thinking the newer ones won't be on anytime soon, like Ratchet and Clank.
But how come if like I completely agree, but then how come they add Miles Morales, Returnal, and Demon Souls? I mean, Returnal, I think is the latest PS5 game to come out.
Which Returnal came out before Ratchet and Clank, didn't it?
Really?
Yeah.
I actually am not sure anymore.
Returnal came out February of 2021, and then Ratchet and Clank came out in the summer of 2021. If I'm getting my dates right.
Having finished Rift Apart, I am very surprised it's not on here because I really, really liked it. Even though the story I don't think is as good. Yeah, and we don't even have Ratchet and Clank the PS4 version.
Yeah, not even on PS4.
I have a feeling that the reason Ratchet is not here is some weird, like maybe licensing. Not licensing. It is own. They own Insomniac. Maybe Insomniac
Mm.
had a say to. I don't know. Why wouldn't they have the PS4 version? Because they gave it for free before. At some point, they gave. I remember getting it for free with
Yeah.
the PlayStation Plus. Not
I,
even with
I
the
missed that
PlayStation
one.
Plus.
I was gonna get. I missed that one.
No, it was not even with the PlayStation Plus. It was with the PlayStation regular. You didn't need to have PlayStation Plus to get it for free, just like Horizon Zero Dawn. They were like every
It
month they
was
were.
it was the campaign because when the pandemic first started, Sony did a campaign where they gave us free games
Yes.
because everyone was staying home. So it was like Horizon, and it was Ratchet and Clank, and a few other smaller ones.
Matt again bringing in the information. I didn't know that it was because of the. Yeah, I remember now because of COVID. Next game on this list. So the next big one on this list is. Well, first I just noticed Patapon 2 Remastered is there. I used to be a big Patapon fan on PSP.
Yeah, the first one and the sequel.
That's
Nice.
great. So
I
Returnal.
think that was Vita.
Yes, that's true. Returnal
Returnal.
is a big, big game on this list. I personally bought it like not full price. I waited for Black Friday to buy it, and I'm still not even halfway through it. Like, I really want to go back to Returnal. I really liked it. I just like put it on the back shelf at some point once I got to the third world. I just never went back to it, but I will. But now that it's on this list, I regret buying it. If I had waited, you know what I mean? Like, this is why this list impresses me so much, is because there are a lot of these games that I paid full price for, or close to full price.
Well, at least you got your money's worth and you played. So that's
Demon
even better.
Souls, 100%, you're right, because I finished it. Like as soon as I got my PS5 at launch because I had pre-ordered it, that was like the next gen game that I got with it, and I had never played a Souls game. So that one I finished it right away. So it's the fact that I didn't finish Returnal that I still have more than half of the game to play, and now it's free. So anyway, Returnal alone is worth this list. Oh, and they released a free DLC a few months ago that adds
Yeah, it's
co-op.
co-op now, right? Yeah.
So once this game comes out, like Matt, if you try it, I can literally come and play with you.
Yes, like I didn't buy Returnal when it first came out. I watched Maximilian and Dude play through it, and I was like, okay, this game looks really cool. I won't buy it full price, but this game looks really cool. And now I'm glad I didn't buy it because it's part of this.
What were you gonna say,
So
Felipe?
that means you have to move here instead of the West Coast. But yeah, so just like Matt said, it's like just like visiting, like watching J vloggers. Like I visited Japan through them, because I'll never have time to visit everywhere they went. So just like YouTubers I follow, I'll never have time to play everything they play. They
That's
already
true.
compile everything. So yeah,
But that's the thing, Felipe. Like for $40 more per year than the PlayStation Plus, you get all of these really high quality AAA Sony games. I think, for you especially, Felipe, since you haven't played a lot of these, like imagine you get a PS5 at some point, and you get all the PS5 games that have come out to date for free. It's crazy.
uh, there's so many games here I would love to consider, especially when I do upgrade to a PS5, and then I think it's gonna end there because on a tangent here, I don't think I'd ever get the PS6. That may be around the corner. I
Dude,
mean, in a few years. But, like, there's nothing more to improve in the gaming industry, in my opinion, other than focus on VR or AR, maybe.
I would love to
Like
talk about.
PS5, get more hair technology. Like we don't need that. There's enough. And even in recent like generation PS4 and 5, there's been like a huge resurgence on like the retro style. Like
True.
Undertale was huge
Hmm.
because of the oversaturated market of like super good graphic heavy quotation here. So like going back to like the classic where everything began is a breath of fresh air. So like there is nothing to improve on a PS6. Where do we go from here? Just Sword Art Online, VR.
Well, PSVR 2 is coming out soon, but actually, you bring up a good question now that I have for you, Felipe. Does this make you more likely to get a PS5 sooner than you would have if PS Plus Premium, if this service didn't exist, or the fact that this service exists, does it make you want a PS5 more than before, or want it earlier than you would have otherwise?
Absolutely makes me want to get it like sooner. But it's not just the service per se, like that's inevitable because
Hmm.
Sony wants to compete, especially because they've kind of like used a lot of money to acquire a bunch of other stuff, so they kind of need to profit. But I think it's the selection.
Yes.
That's what makes me want. It's the selection of games. Although it's not like 100% of everything I want to play, but it's still like more than half of these I want to play, which is rare.
Yeah. You see, I really wanted your reaction on this, Felipe, because I think that for like
Yeah.
gamers like you that have a lot of these games that they have never played, I think this is an incredible deal. And we're not even through the list. There's still so much more. So,
Yeah.
by the way, are you guys in a hurry or something? Because I know that we're like it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes, but this is the last news of the.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Like, let's finish and then I
Perfect.
will rush. First one, I have to rush.
Sure. So basically, another big game on this list for me is, well, you do get all the Uncharted games. You get the Uncharted Lost Legacy, which is Uncharted 1, 2, 3 they're remastered, right?
Yes.
No, The Lost Legacy was the standalone game that came out after 4 with the two female leads.
Oh,
Chloe and the one that shows up in 4. Chloe, I don't remember the other one's name, but it was like a standalone game. The collection was the Nathan Drake collection. That one is 1, 2, 3.
crazy. So with this,
Not
you
from
get
five game ending, but it was. I think it's called the Golden something. That's on the
Golden
Vita. Like,
Abyss. Yeah, Golden
yeah,
mm,
Abyss for
Vita.
Vita.
Like, once again, why they snub the Vita? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
they might add some Vita games in the future. Like if this service works out well enough for them, they might be like, okay, let's try porting some Vita games because they've already done it with PSP games. So I'm sure they
Yeah.
could do Vita as well.
This is a bit of a tangent, but like
Hmm.
the Vita had so many great games that they should focus going on mobile again, mobile, like Sony, because I didn't play many of them, but like the Street Fighter Cross Tekken, for example, is the superior version compared to the console version, PS3. But that's a different discussion. Like in other exclusive games, even back in the day, it was PSP only, but the Jack and Dexter franchise had its own spin-off, Dexter only. There was a like Jack and Dexter 1.5 before Jack 2. So it tells the story of Dexter going to free Jack in the first
Mm.
game because so it's basically a Disney Plus Marvel show these days, like just like the in-between movies. But that was the
Um,
PSP era. They don't do those anymore. That's what Golden Abyss sort of was for the Nathan Drake to like stay on track here.
yeah. No, no, no. I actually remember the Jack and Dexter game that and Dexter or Dexter that you were talking
Like
about.
just
Dexter.
So, third-party partner games, and this is for me also very impressive because one game that already pops is, well, you have Assassin's Creed Valhalla for Assassin's Creed fans, Batman Arkham Knight. Talking about retro games being popular, Celeste, which is a retro
Very good
platform
game.
game, yeah, which is new and apparently incredible. I've never played that I get to play if I have this.
Highly
Um,
recommended.
I definitely will. Far Cry 4, no, Far Cry 5 just came out, so that's old. Final Fantasy X Royal Edition was included in the PS collection.
not
Marvel's
10.
Marvel's Guardian of the Galaxy for me was the biggest game on the third party
That's
list.
the biggest one. I was looking at this list and I went, well, I'm gonna get this just for that game because like I've wanted to play that game since it came out.
We have very similar tastes, Matt, because me, honestly, this is literally what I thought too when I saw this list. Because one of the reasons why I was like, oh my God, Game Pass is so worth it, because if I had Game Pass right now, I could play Marvel's Guardian of the Galaxy. And I was like, why can't I can't do that on Sony? So just for that, Game Pass for me was a very good deal. But now Sony has it too. So I think this is very, very good for them. For Honor, Mortal Kombat 11, Naruto Shippuden, and Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 is included in this game. When I was obsessed with Naruto games, I played all of the early Ninja Storms.
I played so much of the PS2 era and PS3.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is included in this list, which is a masterpiece of a single player game.
That's a game I played with my cousin and I never beat, but it's a game I considered, but I haven't bought yet, luckily. So now I can get it.
Exactly. It also says Resident Evil. I think there was a mistake there because they don't say which one.
Ah, it's
I
most
think it's
likely
the
the
remake
remake.
of the original. I think it's the
Yeah.
newest remake of the original.
But we haven't gotten a remake of Resident Evil 1.
No, the
Yeah,
GameCube era they just remastered. Like
What?
the GameCube that
yeah.
ported to PS3 and then PS4.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the Resident Evil 1 remaster? Okay, that sucks then. 'Cause I thought that would be like the
Yes. Everybody put 4 on the pedestal. Well, yes, it's my second favorite, but the personal opinion. Like RE1 remaster, which is a remaster of a remake of the original PS1 game, that's the best game for me. It's how a remake should be. Just remake completely from the ground up and you add story elements. That's how a remake should be. Not Resident Evil 3 remake where they gave new graphics and remove areas of the game. That's just a waste of time.
you know
Cheap way
what?
to cash
Yeah.
in and they even added DLC to make up for this loss. It was just like made that the damage was done.
You know what I think? I think probably Capcom is probably thinking about doing their own Game Pass thingy because Xbox Game Pass has Resident Evil 7 included. This doesn't have Resident Evil 7, which
Mm.
makes me think that maybe they gave Resident Evil 7 to Game Pass before they had planned of making their own Game Pass, Capcom Pass or something. Because there's no Capcom game here other than Resident Evil 1 Remaster. You don't even get Street
Yeah.
Fighter.
But Street Fighter is making its own thing. They have the fighting collection coming in at July, I think, with a Pocket Fighter finally getting Wi-Fi and other like Red Earth and other old classics.
Yeah, I really think that because me, the thing is, Resident Evil 2 remake for me is a masterpiece. Like I was never a big Resident Evil fan. The last, like I only played Resident Evil 4 when it came out on PS2, and since then I haven't played any of them. Except the demo of Resident Evil 7, which scared the living head out of me. So I was like, I will never play Resident Evil 7 ever, even if you paid me. I've
Oh, you should have done the VR version. That would have just freaked you out even more.
I think I would get a heart attack, man. I don't think I would be able to. I think I would literally after 5 minutes take it off and then have nightmares for
Yeah,
months.
like 2 seconds in, I would be like, okay, nope, never mind.
Like
So RE7 is the Sword Art Online in real life.
you know that I
Yeah.
actually RE7 was made to promote Resident Evil PlayStation VR 1. Like it was
Hmm.
literally like the biggest game and by far best game on PSVR 1 was RE7 because it was really literally made for VR. And me, I don't watch horror movies. I'm very scared of horror movies because I was traumatized as a kid by horror movies. I was the youngest of three boys, and my older brothers would watch horror movies that I was way too young for. And I was in the room, and I watched Chucky as a kid. I couldn't sleep with my teddy bears for like months after that. Like The Exorcist. Anyway, so since then, I'm not a horror guy. But Resident Evil 2 remake, because it was so critically acclaimed, I gave it a shot. And that I don't consider as much a horror game and more of an action adventure game first and horror like as the subgenre because like the demo of Resident Evil 7 when I first played it, like I got to the end of the demo and at the end there's like a long hallway and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I know that this is the end of the demo, and I'm gonna get at the end of the hallway to get out of the house, and there's gonna be a zombie that's gonna show up. There's gonna be a jump scare. I know it's going to happen. I get to the door. My character puts his hand on the doorknob, and then there's a zombie that puts his hand on your shoulder, and I screamed like a little girl, even though I knew it was
Yeah, and then he
coming.
goes like, welcome to the family, son, and just punches you out.
You don't like horror, then you should give RE6 a try. Revisit that old classic, and despite its departure from super horror, it was still fun. And there's like four different campaigns where they all feel disjointed. One of the pros and cons of the game, but give that a shot if you
I will.
can somehow.
I'm not.
RE6
Yeah.
is not horror. It's basically a cheesy
Mike, it's a
movie.
Michael Bay game. It's a Michael Bay movie game.
Yeah, if Michael Bay made a horror movie, it would be Resident Evil 6. It's just like no horror, just explosions and cheesy dialogue.
Well, the only reason why I haven't played 6 yet is because I heard it was not that good. Is it a good game?
it's it's only good in co-op. If you play
Hmm.
it solo, it's not great. If you have someone to play with you, then you can just like joke around with how bad the game is.
I actually did
Yeah.
play RE5 on Xbox 360 when it came out because I was a big fan of RE4, and I find that the 3D non-first person shooter RE games are not really horror games, so that's why those I can play.
It
Yeah.
hasn't been horror since 4. 4 truly was the peak of RE games, which, looking back, it's baffling that certain basic mechanics you have to stop, aim, and shoot, not aim and walk at the same time. How limiting was that back in the day? It's weird to think about it.
That's
Even,
crazy. That's true.
yeah, even Dino Crisis on the PS1 could walk and aim. Why couldn't Resident Evil do the same? And it's made by Capcom again. So why couldn't they just have that technology? Are stop, aim, shoot, oh, miss, get bitten.
I can't wait till we
So
see the remake, like a trailer. I mean,
I like, and that Capcom announcement saw that the new dinosaur shooting game had so many people disappointed. They were expecting Dino Crisis, and then it's like, ah, psych, it's not it.
yeah,
Such a
It's a
disappointment.
different game.
That looked terrible. All right, so that's pretty much it. Other than that, the only other good third-party games here that look interesting is South Park: The Fractured Butthole. Actually, is a, like
Yes.
I had played a little bit of the first one and I really liked it, so I would 100% try this one. And
I
that
would
is
give
it.
I would give honorable mentions to Hollow Knight,
Nice.
Hollow Knight, and Outer Wilds. Those are two games that I would give honorable mentions to. Hollow Knight, especially if you want a tough Souls-like game but 2D platformer. There you go. That's Hollow Knight. It's like as
Plat-
tough as Demon Souls and those types of games, but it's a 2D platformer.
I've heard a lot about it,
So
never played it.
I definitely want to give it a shot. I played a bit of Ninja Gaiden back in the day, and those tough platformers, it's fun because it's a platformer. It's linear, so like it's easy to learn. I even played the Mega Man. Some Mega Man games are super difficult. Some, not all. So I'll definitely give it a shot.
All right, so next, so this all everything we just saw was literally just PlayStation Studios and third-party partners for the extra tier, which is the middle
The middle
tier.
tier.
Yeah, which is PS4 and PS5 games. Next, if you get the next tier,
We also get the Ubisoft games, but they didn't have a list for that, right? That
uh,
Ubisoft Plus thing, they didn't have a list for that.
I think it was included in the third-party list that we just saw. You know, you saw it
Okay.
had the Valhalla.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
like in the I'm gonna put it back up. So Ubisoft games here that you see in third-party partners is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4, and Tom
Right.
Clancy The Division, and The Crew 2, and South Park. Actually, I didn't realize that was a Ubisoft game.
Yeah.
And For Honor.
Okay.
So and which is surprising that they have all of these because Ubisoft is trying to make their Ubisoft Plus as well. Which, if you have
Mm-hmm.
this, I don't see why you would get Ubisoft Plus.
I don't
E,
know. Ubisoft is full on NFTs right now, so lots of stuff that is doing right now I don't agree with.
I'm not a Ubisoft fan. I've never played any of the Assassin's Creed games, to be honest, and so I don't really feel like it's a studio I care about.
This topic could be another podcast episode, so I won't get into it, but I'm a cynical Assassin's Creed fan. Like I used to be all in with Assassin's Creed, and now I'm just so sad. So
Oh
that'll be
yeah,
another episode.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So basically, I just put up on the screen now. So everything we just saw previously was if you get PS Plus Extra. Again, I almost forgot the name. But if you get the Max tier and you get the PlayStation Plus Premium, you also get PS3 games, timed trials, which is the first thing we're gonna see here. So time limited game trials, which is something that is brand new that Sony is trying, which basically the time limited game trial benefits will enable you to try selected games before you buy them. After downloading a trial of the full game, you can play it for 2 hours for most games. The playtime counter only counts while you're in game. It's a great way to try games before you decide to buy, and any trophies and game save data from the trial period will carry forward if you decide to purchase the game. This is why it's not a demo. You literally get to play the first 2 hours of the game, which is like what Cyberpunk did recently. When
Yeah,
Cyberpunk got released, where you could play the first 5 hours with the new next gen update. And if you decided to
I
buy
did
it,
that.
yeah. And if you decided to buy it after, you could buy it and then you continue from the 5 hours. You don't restart anything.
Right.
And what's very interesting here is that it includes Horizon Forbidden West that just came out.
Oh my god. I'm willing to pay
I,
full
I
price for that game.
know I know I'm gonna buy it. I know I'm gonna buy it, but if I can play it for free for 2 hours before I buy it, I'm like, I don't know.
Why not? Exactly. And
Why
like
not? Yeah, why not?
I assumed you had already gotten it because behind you we see a Lego Horizon Forbidden West long
Yes.
neck.
Yes. Tall neck. You
Tall
almost
neck.
got it,
Oh
but
no,
yeah.
I knew I was wrong. I only played the first part, the beginning of Zero Dawn. I have to go back to it. All right. So, other than the trials, the PS3 games that you get for free that you can stream but cannot download, so you need a good internet, is Demon Souls PS3, which is why would you get that? Oh, if you don't have the PS5. But the PS5 version is an incredible remake, so no one will play the PS3 version. So you get Echo, Infamous 1 and Infamous 2. Oh, Ratchet and Clank is there. All first three Ratchet and Clanks, including Into the Nexus. This is so weird that they would
That's where they
include
put it. They don't do the PS4 version, they do the PS3 versions. Interesting.
having only played the remaster of the Into the Nexus. I highly recommend not playing the PS3 version and just getting the PS4. No, remake. It's not even a remaster. It's a full-on remake.
To be fair though, for those games, maybe a hot take, but for this level of like furry creatures, you don't need PS4 graphics. Just stay, because it's already like a unrealistic graphic. They're not real creatures here, people in real life. So just stick with whatever graphic you can.
I mean, it's a good point that you bring up because I disagree for one reason. Have you noticed how poorly aged 3D games have been from PS2 and PS3? Like there is a meme of what Ratchet and Clank has looked like throughout the ages, and it looks like a horror game on PS2 now if you play it today. Like the graphics for the PS2 Ratchet are horrible. And so that's why like I haven't seen the PS3 version, but if it looks anything as bad as the PS2, I think there's I don't think it's even playable. Which
But the
is
PS3 game is looking pretty good, so I
yeah.
think they're still playable for now.
There was also the movie that came out at the same time as the Into the Nexus, so I'm assuming it. But I do after having played Rift Apart, which is with Demon Souls, the prettiest PS5 game I've played. Like you can't go back. The sense that like you can't go back to Ratchet not looking amazing after Rift Apart. Other than
True.
that, I think all these PS3 streaming games are actually not worth it. To be honest, there hasn't been there's not a single one from the first party games that looks worth it. They don't even have Metal Gear Solid 4, which is the only reason you would want to get a PS3 game, in my opinion.
Excuse me.
Yeah. And third-party games, though, this is where the Capcom games are hiding, which I'm guessing because you're streaming them, Capcom allow them. So you have Asura's Wrath, Devil May Cry HD Collection, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. Oh, Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare, which was a DLC for Red Dead 1 with zombies.
Yeah, the zombie version. So they don't let you stream the original Red Dead Redemption, but they let you stream the zombie version. Very strange.
It is very strange. And otherwise, other than that, the only other there's also at the top right, which is extremely small, the PS1 and PSP list of games that you can play. The only games in the PlayStation Studios PS1 game that I recognize is just Ape Escape.
I know
So,
Hotshot Golf and Super Stardust and Siphon Filter. Okay, I know those games, but
Oh, wow.
Jumping Flash, never heard of it.
Siphon Filter is still relevant. I played the first one in the PS1 era.
the only reason I know the name is because it's Band Studios, the guys who made Days
Days
Gone.
Gone?
Yeah, and they were saying how the Jeff Frost, who was at the head of the band studio, who left Sony, they fired him, I think, and he got into like he went on the David Jaffe show, and
Mm.
he like revealed a lot of dirt on Sony. You know, saying how they said that Days Gone was a failure because it sold 8 million units, even though they said Ghost of Tsushima was a success, even though it sold 8 million units as well. And he said he revealed some dirt about Sony, saying they asked them to work on a Siphon Filter sequel, And Jeff Ross said like we didn't want to work on a Siphon Filter sequel, and it felt like they just wanted to get rid of us. Anyways, because they wanted to work on Days Gone 2, and then they asked them to help Naughty Dog with Last of Us remake or Uncharted remake or something like that. Anyways, next on the list, and this is what really I think is the most worth it for the premium tier, is the next slide, the next picture I'm about to put on. And this is it after this. This is the last list, and then after this, we're pretty much done for the day. It is classic games remastered. And apparently, these games, they even created trophy lists for them, and they've remastered the
Yeah,
graphics.
trophy support and like save data support.
And this for
Very
me is
nice.
very impressive. You have Jack 2, Jack 3, and Jack Combat Racing, only
Hey
available
yo.
remastered there.
Oh, that's good.
Ayo, Jack. We need a new Jack game.
And
Yes.
yeah, the Precursor Legacy also available remastered. And me, what impresses me on this list the most is Wild Arms 3 remastered.
Oh wow.
I was a big Wild Arms fan, which is a JRPG. I really loved Wild Arms Alter Code F, which was a PS2 remake of Wild Arms PS1, and Wild Arms 5. Those are two games that I really, really liked. So Wild Arms 3, I never played it, and I heard it was really good. And a remaster of that, I'm 100% playing it.
Siren. Oh my God. Uh, Good stuff. Oh my gosh.
Ark the Lad. What is Ark the Lad?
Oh, I've heard of that. Oh God. I think it was some sort of JRPG, but I never played it. I just heard about it.
So this is it. These are all
Rogue
of the games.
Galaxy is another one I was. Rogue Galaxy is another one I wanted to play back in the day when it first came out, but never got around to it. That's another one.
I don't even know what Rogue Galaxy is, to be honest. But Japan Studio, I'm interested. Oh, something very interesting there as well is BioShock Remastered.
Yeah, for third parties.
All
Good
right,
stuff.
so basically this is the whole list. And basically this is, I think, very impressive that we already have all of this available at launch. And they said that every month they're going to be adding new games to both tiers. And if the, oh, in the Nvidia leaks, we had Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered in that list. Maybe it's for this.
Oh.
The only
The plot.
reason why I think, sorry, go ahead.
Nothing. I just said the plot thickens.
Matt, you were about to say something?
No. Go ahead.
The only reason why I don't, maybe not, Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered maybe is not coming for this list of classics remastered is just because Wild Arms 3 is not on that list. Oh, but maybe because Wild Arms, I don't know. The thing about that Nvidia leaks list is that it's games coming to PC, and these games are
Yeah,
100,
that's true.
yeah. But hey, I still can't wait for them to officially announce that. So, anyways, this is the list. Felipe, I'll start with you to end this episode of Otaku Informers. Informers Pass Plus. Now you get why I wanted to name the episode that way, because we just spent over an hour talking about video game news and all of that. It's a very, very big episode today. I don't think we're gonna get as many video game news until E3.
Yeah. I was just double check something quickly because I was confusing the names. I think it's gun. I forgot what it's called. I was confusing wild guns, wild arms with wild guns or guns something, which is like you just move the shot. It's a hell shooter. You just aim in the screen. I played that in the Super Nintendo one. I got confused with the names for a second. But yeah, it looks fun. Like the most of the list, I will definitely consider this pass. Oh my gosh.
They got
I definitely
Felipe. Sorry, continue.
I definitely got informed of this.
Great. Well, I'm really happy. I actually wanted, because I know Matt is very always informed about video games, but I really wanted your reaction, Felipe. And for someone who just said that earlier, Xbox Game Pass is for people who are either on welfare or jobless or whatever. For someone who
Or
thought that about
students, or
Xbox Game Pass, the fact that you didn't say the same thing about this means they really impressed you, and I think that says a lot.
No, it's not meant to like as sound as an insult. They just mean that because just like Netflix, if you have too many options, you never get to all of it. So those people who are usually tend to be like freer than other people, then have more time to watch more or play more stuff. But in this case, because there's a big selection that I personally care, I just have to make time for it and do some sacrifices instead of like, should I cook a meal today or just go instant cup ramen? And then I have more time to play the game. So those are time management sacrifices that I have to make. But it's something on the list that I personally care, at least a big chunk of the game. So despite me not being a student or on welfare or whatever, I'll have to make the time to play those games and then ignore everything else.
The fact that you said Xbox Game Pass is for people on welfare should be the quote of the episode. This is such a Felipe thing to say, and I love it, to be honest. I love when you go full extreme, and you. That was the Dark Passenger speaking. This is what I meant earlier. Felipe definitely was
where's
a bit.
Felipe's Dark Passenger? I need more Felipe's Dark Passenger.
Any Xbox fan who would listen to this would instantly hate you for saying that about Xbox Game Pass. But to be fair, if you remember when you said that, my first response was, "You've never played Skyrim, because you obviously don't care about any Xbox games or
No,
Bethesda."
not true. It's just like I said before, it's not that I never wanted to try, but I just never had the time. But also, many games are cross platforms. So if I can play on the PlayStation, why would I get an Xbox? It's the same thing, right? Or even other games that I have been interested in trying, but just at this point I kind of won't. Is like The Witcher, but then I watched the Netflix show and that's enough. For example, right? That's one of those choices that like, or Fable is one of the games that I wanted to play a lot back in the day in the Xbox era, but I'm like I just never got for like one game only. No thanks.
No, but
So there are I want to give it a shot, but I just won't at this point.
I think this is, and before I go to you, Matt, I think it's the key word in what you said is games I care about. You've always been a big Sony fan and PlayStation fan, so this is something that targets people exactly like you. Because I did hear that many people who said, I've played every single game on that list that are like all the big games like Death Stranding that we mentioned, Returnal, etc. People who've already bought all those games and played them, this whole list is pointless to them. Because I think this is an amazing service for people who aren't already playing the latest PlayStation games. Because if you already have played like Death Stranding, Demon Souls, Returnal, God of War, and all of those big AAA Sony games, then there's nothing there for you really other than like Marvel's Guardian of the Galaxy and like some third party. Which is where also before going to you, because this one point I really wanted to bring up was David Jaffe had a tweet about this where David Jaffe is the guy who creator game director of God of War 1 and God of War 2. And he's a YouTuber now. He has a YouTube channel that I really like. Because this guy literally created God of War and Twisted Metal, right? So his opinions on
Okay.
Sony, yeah. So his opinions on Sony news are always interesting for me. And he said, this list of games is incredibly impressive if you've played these games or already a PlayStation fan. But for someone who's like a PC gamer, you look at this list and you're like, meh. Because PC gamers, like a lot of my friends that only play on PC, they literally don't know anything or much about PlayStation single player games because they don't play single player games. You know what I mean? People who play like all those live service games on PC, like you know, um, Fortnite,
Apex,
Warzone, Apex,
Fortnite.
um, League of Legends, Lost Ark, World of Warcraft. There's a lot of people on PC that just don't care about PlayStation. They've never really had a PlayStation, or they haven't had one they have not had a PS4, and they only like online games. And for those people, they're gonna look at this list and not care. Like Bloodborne. Bloodborne, I've never played it. I'm waiting for the remaster or remake that we know is in the works. But like people who maybe Elden Ring has changed that, but a lot of people are like Bloodborne. Why would I play Bloodborne? People who follow video games, they know Bloodborne is considered a masterpiece and better than Elden Ring. So yeah. So your turn, Matt. What do you think?
Well, as a guy who's played a lot more of the games on that list than Felipe, the value for me is less because I'm like, okay, I've already played much more of these games. But like for the few games that I didn't play, like Guardians of the Galaxy, like Returnal, and what was the other one? Demon Souls. Like there's a few games there that I'm like, ooh, extra. Maybe not premium, but extra might be worth it to get those few games that I was interested in. In terms of premium, so far, other than the time limited trials, like the classic games are cool, but like the Nintendo version of that, you know how Nintendo on the Switch you can get SNES games and NES games for free if you subscribe to their online service. I never touch that. I'm like, it's cool, that's great, but I just never touch it. I never go back to classics. That's just how I play. So I don't think premium would be worth it for me, but extra might be worth it. Extra might be worth the extra bit.
Well, as you said earlier, Guardians of the Galaxy, you've been wanting to try out. Demon Souls, you've been wanting to
Yeah,
try out. Returnal, you've been wanting to try out. And I'm gonna conclude
yeah.
by just I'll give you guys one last word, but me just to conclude, I think this is exactly what Sony needed because I used to tell my friends like right now until this announcement, if someone had asked me should I get an Xbox Series S or a PS5, I would have said get an Xbox Series S or X with Game Pass. Because before this, you would have bought a PS5 and then you would have had, other than the PS5 collection, no games that you could have gotten really for free without paying extra. Whereas before, you got an Xbox Series X and you got so many free games. So I like to say the following, which is for casual gamers who are not hardcore like us, who are not otakus, obsessed with gaming, they're gonna be like, hey, I just got a PS5. What game should I get? Now I'm
All
gonna
of
tell
them.
them you get the PlayStation Plus Premium and you get PlayStation Plus Extra and you get all of them. Like almost all of them except the ones that came out within the last year or 6 months ago. And I think this for me, finally Sony, it was a perfect response because now I will say between an Xbox and a PlayStation, get a, well, depending on the type of player, I would say get a PlayStation because the list of games that you get for free here beats by far the current Game Pass. And now we know there's no Starfield. There's like this is just destroying Game Pass, like considering there's no Starfield. But yeah, but
Yeah,
then again,
interesting.
I think for PC gamers, people who play like those live service games, I think this is gonna be nothing for them. And I understand also seeing this list why Jim Ryan said they want 10 live service PlayStation games by 2026 because they want to target those PC gamers that don't care about single player games. A lot of people don't care about single player games. So yeah. Any last
Yeah.
word, guys?
Uh, Last word is we just got informed.
Hey, this
Last
was a
word is no, I don't have anything.
we've said it
Yeah.
all. This is our longest episode, 3 hours. Usually we'll try and make it 2 hours max per episode, but I mean, this is Sony Game Pass. There was a lot to talk about. But other than that, I hope we have informed some people. And from now on, starting next week too, we will be streaming on YouTube instead of Twitch. So if you're watching this episode and you're interested in watching us next week, well, next Friday usually will be our YouTube streaming time. So thank you very much, everyone. If anyone actually listened to this whole thing, huge props. But my plan is from now on, we try and cut these into chunks and post them at clips on our YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Yeah. We're a little
agreed.
bit here to entertain people and entertain ourselves, entertain each other. So that's what's important here. We're just here to inform each other, and if other people get informed, then bonus, props to them and first out. But like, we don't have to try. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys, both
Yeah,
of
no, you're
you.
right. You're right.
Let's not try to go too much
Hmm.
because it's an experiment. It's a new project. We're just getting together, talking, and having fun. So we'll try the YouTube thing and other stuff, but if anything, we're just beginners. So that's all
Yeah.
important. We learn through experience, and we
Amen.
inform how to improve.
No, amen. You're 100% right. That's also why earlier I was saying, like, let's talk about Dexter during the Japan report. Who cares? I still want us to, like, still be a conversation between friends, even though we do have, like, a structure. Like, this for me, the goal for me was just to inform Felipe at first. I was like, I want to talk about all of this stuff with Felipe because I'm always curious to know his opinion. And have I informed you, Felipe?
Yes, sir.
Have you been
Yes, Rashid.
informed, Matt?
Oh yes, you've taught me some stuff for sure. I have been informed.
And I've been taught too by Matt and Felipe today, and I'm gonna let you close, Felipe, the closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, our
So I guess
catchphrase.
today's people, there's been Otaku informers, so stay informed.